free tool. Learn if the online pharmacy you're using is safe.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now and see what option works best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760 now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This midday, temperatures mainly in the 30s with a mix of clouds and sun taking us into the afternoon, and high temperatures remain in the mid to upper 30s. Overnight, 15 to 20 degrees, then another day spent in the 30s heading into Thursday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 51 points to 48,952.
Defense kicks it left corner, McNeil. He lets one fly and counted in the foul. 4-point play opportunity for McNeil. He works the ball over the timeline, accelerates down to the left post, feeds Copeland, who spikes it with 2. Up top now, Williams is open. He lofts and connects. Top of the arc, Williams has 18 points. 120, finds Abel, sends it up, not there, but Lubin does. Hammer time, Big Ben Allen. 83-62, NC State's blown it open.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Hump Day. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. There's a lot of news. NC State, big win last night over Syracuse. Darian Mensah, very quickly, once he hit the free agent pool, seemed to know exactly where he was going to go. Must have been a heck of a pitch from Miami, since they definitely hadn't talked in months.
It's like, wait, what? You're available?
Oh, this is convenient.
Huh, it's funny. It's interesting. We have all this money just sitting here ready to spend.
Bill Belichick, not a Hall of Famer. Noah Philp hitting waivers for the Carolina Hurricanes. And much, much more. Let's start the same way we start every single day. Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
NC State gets the dub over Syracuse, 88-68. Yesterday, or earlier this week, I should say, we broke down the NC State win on the road at Pitt, which was their previous game, and I thought it proved how State can win when Darian Williams doesn't have a great game. Right? You needed McNeil to hit threes. You needed Matt Abel off the bench. You needed Kadir Copeland and Van Allen Lubin to be steady Eddie. Well, guess what? The Syracuse game last night was a reminder that they still look their best when Williams is pretty darn good. Came out, first bucket was like 0.5 seconds into the game, knocking down threes, doing a little bit of everything. 23.6 rebounds, 6 assists. Did have 5 turnovers, but I'm downplaying that, which coaches, they don't like. But I want Darian Williams playing free. I don't want him worried about making mistakes. I don't want him second guessing. I want him playing free. I'm good for a sports movie analogy, Dennis. Should we just jump right in?
Yeah, why not?
After the game, Williams told the media that he had a family friend who he had a phone call with who told him he's been playing soft this season. And then he came out the next game, had 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Sports movies? It's a cliche scene. They just said Ted Lasso's coming back for another season. There's a Ted Lasso scene where Roy Kent, the angry veteran, takes the young star, brings him back to like a street ball soccer pitch to where you got to go play with the people that don't care that you're famous. Mighty Ducks D2, when they're all famous, they're getting where do they got to go? They got to go back to where people don't care that you're famous.
Yeah, gotta go play that street hockey.
Invincible. Oh, Mark Wahlberg going to go make the Eagles play for Dick Vermeil. Ooh, what do you got to do? You got to go play in a rain pickup football game with your buddies from the bar. I think it is wildly valuable to athletes that, quote, strike it big, hit the big time, become the BMOC, to keep your friends that know you before you were famous so they can be honest with you and say, listen, man, you're playing soft. That don't depend on you for clout, that aren't like, their currency around campus isn't, I'm friends with Darian Williams. They aren't financially dependent on you. Who knows with NIL, who you might have someone on the payroll. You need someone that trusts you, that knows you, that is a family friend to say, you're playing soft. Wakes you up. You go out and drop 23 on Syracuse. And then also you need, Van Allen Lubin to continue, double-doubling everybody. You need Copeland to, go 20-9. It wasn't just him. But that's the value of it. If you have a friend that becomes famous, you make sure you call them the same nickname you called them when they were 16 years old in high school. It's valuable. Tell them they're playing soft when they're playing soft. Credit to whoever that was in Darian Williams' life. I don't know who it was, but you are valuable to his athletic future. Until stereotypically he gets like his first $100 million contract and never talks to you again. But that's stereotype. That's not Darian Williams. That's also number 1. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
Darian Mensah committed to Miami. That quickly, right? The case was settled, yesterday? And he's back. Committing to Miami already. Didn't take visits elsewhere. Didn't have to go check out his options. Didn't want to keep all lines in the water. No, committed to Miami. Which, by the way, Miami's deadline to enroll in class was the 21st. So with him committing a week later, I guess that deadline wasn't that important after all.
Guess they'll find a way.
Guess the teachers are real cool with it. Or the teachers have been told to be real cool with it. Listen, I'm not surprised this is how it was going to happen. We'll never know the money, but I assume there was money exchanged. Here's I think it's an ACC thing. The Atlantic Coast Conference has to be able to govern and at least keep some form of society within their conference. Because if you can't, we're seeing this is what's happening with the NCAA. As soon as people start breaking rules and you have to admit, there's nothing I can do about it, which is what the NCAA has done, right? With former NBA draft picks or former guys that have signed NBA contracts being forced by the court system to be eligible to play. The NCAA put out a statement a couple weeks ago that was basically, we wish we could stop it too, everybody, but hands are tied. As soon as you start admitting there's nothing you can do to punish people, there's nothing you can do to stop them from doing whatever they want. Miami, pretty obviously, right? I don't have like the smoking gun evidence, so I guess we'll say allegedly, pretty obviously tampered with the ACC champions quarterback. If there's no anything there, that you have no legs to, you have no bite to your bark. What's stopping Miami from saying, sorry, ACC, we scheduled Georgia for the same week you want us to play Boston College. Boston College can still show up at our stadium, but we're gonna be in Georgia playing Georgia. Punish us if you want. Not sure there's anything you can do. The ACC has nothing like that. You got to keep your constituents in line.
I mean, what do you want them? Like, what do you want them to do? Unless you can prove the tampering, then what can you do?
I think you investigate thoroughly, and I'd be very surprised if you don't find evidence of tampering. And once you do, you got to punt. Like, a fine. I don't care if it's $5. You got to make Miami pay something. Admit that there's wrongdoing here. It's not. And by the way, I wanted this to be clear too. It's not that they took my Mensah out of the portal, right? I'm not crying that the transfer portal happened. It happens everywhere. And Mensah joined Duke out of the portal, right? It would be so hypocritical to be mad that another team used the exact same mechanism you used to get a player to take a player. It's that they put him in the portal that I have an issue with. Anyone in the portal you can take. It's that they put him in the portal, right? That's the issue. That's the difference. Somebody has to do something, or else it's you're going to see a player. I almost guarantee you're going to see a player this year pull a MJ Morris, only instead of, like, I want to preserve my eligibility, it's going to be, well, I have an offer from somewhere else and I want to protect my health. So I'm going to sit out the last 6 games here because my agent's already talked with this school and I'm out. There's nothing I can do. I've already signed for next year. I already have my money coming in. I don't want to mess with that. I have a, if you come in injured clause that I want to avoid. And if nobody can enforce it, then it's the Wild Wild West. And the rules, like, you take an inch, no repercussions. Take a foot, no repercussions. All of a sudden you're grabbing miles. That's number 2. How about number 3?
Number 3.
We touched on this yesterday. The news broke during the show that multiple reporters have passed along the information that Bill Belichick will not be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I want to be clear. He is worthy of being a first ballot Hall of Famer. However, anytime a situation becomes this highly talked of, anytime a situation becomes this attention grabbing, people are going to play devil's advocate. They're going to grab both sides of the argument. So let's go through some of the arguments we've seen. Bill Polian, a rival of Bill Belichick throughout most of their careers, Bill Polian lobbied the rest of the selection committee against Bill Belichick, saying due to the Spygate and Deflategate situations, he should have to wait a year. If that's how you feel, if you're like, he's a cheater and he needs to be punished, cool. Antonio Gates went in the Hall of Fame last year. He was suspended for performance-enhancing drugs. So precedent set, maybe. There's you got to be this or you got to be that, right? I don't know if you can arbitrarily set rules from your high horse. I'm fine with high horse rules, but then you got to enforce them, not just against your personal rivals. Another one. The rule changes to the voting process were being challenged, in that coaches used to have to wait 5 years after they retired. Now they only have to wait 1, and some people may have been protesting that. And the voting strategy, it used to be you had 250 votes total and you had to get a certain amount. Now everybody votes for 3 out of 5, and they think some players or some voters may have thought, well, Belichick's definitely getting in. Some of these other candidates I wanted to lend my votes to, so I won't waste my vote on somebody automatically getting in like Belichick, and instead I'm going to give them to these guys, and enough did it that they messed them up. That's the wrong way to think. If you have 3 votes, you vote for the 3 most Hall of Fame worthy. Don't try to game the system, or else you end up looking like a fool. And for the life of me, I don't know why these votes aren't public.
That's the thing I don't like. It's the fact that it's not public.
It should be television. It should be like you sit in those weird big curved desks like in like town halls and stuff where everybody's up there, and you should have to stand up and go like, my name is Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan, and I vote for. Boom, boom, boom. Say my 3 names or however many votes I get. Sit down, next person stands up, and then you immediately all go to a press room where you can be questioned, you can be interrogated on your answers, and you better have reasons. Like, it's your job to have reasons. Even if it's, hey, because I've thought of this, right? If I was a voter, I wouldn't know how to vote offensive line because, did you block well is kind of, I need to know more than that. Mine might be, hey, I asked so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. They are the 3 most trusted offensive line minds that I know, and they told me this, and this. Like, if that's a reason, show your work. Then if you don't have Bill Belichick in and you have good reasons, we go, all right, I don't agree with it, but I get it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big 3 at 3. Up next, we talk with somebody who is uniquely qualified to talk about the upcoming Super Bowl. Maybe because, well, he's the big brother of one of the main defensive players on the Seattle Seahawks, and he's the one-time workout buddy of the starting quarterback. We're talking with Thayer Thomas, Heritage High School, NC State, and now giving us insight into the Super Bowl coming up next.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty. Wait, what? Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Save on appliances at the Home Depot with up to $1,000 off, plus up to an extra $500 off select appliances like Whirlpool that can keep up with your busy routine. The Home Depot has Whirlpool laundry appliances with Fan Fresh. This feature fans and tumbles your laundry after it's done to help keep your clothes fresh until you're ready to grab them. Shop now and get up to $1,000 off, plus free delivery on select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $999 or more. Offer valid January 8th through the 28th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right. Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Super Bowl matchup set. Seattle, New England. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline to help break it down is Thayer Thomas, Heritage High School, NC State football product. Also has spent time with the Vikings and Broncos in the NFL, selected by the St. Louis Battlehawks of the UFL, and big brother of Drake Thomas, who is on the defense, linebacker for Seattle, and he's also spent a decent amount of time working out with Sam Darnold. So we'll dive into all of that. Thayer, appreciate you for taking the time to jump on the show with us. Little bro's headed to the Super Bowl. How cool is that for your family? We'll just start with that.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy to think about everything that my whole family's been through, just all the sports and all the experiences we've been able to experience, and then this is the pinnacle of it. I think the Super Bowl is like probably one of the best events that somebody could possibly be in. So it's crazy. We're definitely going to be there and supporting him, and we're excited for him for sure.
What I'll paint the picture for everybody else. I know you're familiar with the story. 96 tackles this year, 3.5 sacks, an interception, and a forced fumble. Coming into the year, I believe he had 16 tackles combined in his first 2 years in the league. What got into him this year where that breakout was even possible?
I think just Drake in general, people forget how good of a football player he's been his whole life. He's one of the top prospects in this, North Carolina area. When he gets to NC State, right, he plays as a true freshman. He's playing with Peyton Wilson on the same linebacking core as Peyton Wilson. Peyton had in 2020 over 100 tackles, and then in 2021 and 22, Drake had over 100 tackles. And then when Drake left, Drake left school early. So then Peyton, went on and had the great 2023 season, and then Drake was not there and he left. And Drake's been really good his whole life, and he's been really, really good. And we both went undrafted in 23 in that draft class. I went to Minnesota and he went to the Raiders. And it's crazy because he left school early and he got the basically a draftable grade. They're like, yeah, you should probably leave. You've had 2 back-to-back 100 tackle seasons. You're runner-up defensive player of the ACC. You probably should go, test your waters in the NFL. You're going to get drafted. You don't want to come back and get hurt. And so he left. And when he gets to the Raiders, it's almost like those guys didn't really know who he was and didn't really I guess think he was good enough. And so in training camp, he is not getting any reps in practice. And so, the first preseason game, he plays probably the last 6 minutes of the game. He probably gets 5 tackles, which is a lot of tackles for a 6-minute period. He probably only had 2 drives, maybe 1 drive. And then that second week in training camp, they go to LA to joint practice with the Rams. And during the week of practice, he got 0 reps in practice. And he was holding the dummy bags for guys. He was really not doing much at practice. And so he started to second guess, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have left school early. I might have made the wrong decision here. So then fast forward to the game that week, the second preseason game, he, the guy that's in front of him gets hurt the first play of the game. And so he is thrown into the fire. And he had 14 tackles that game, 15 tackles that game. And so from that point on, you have 1 game left to make the team, basically. There's a third preseason game. And his linebacker coach told him the last spot in the linebacker room is going to come down to you and this other guy, whatever, for this last game. And fast forward, they play the Cowboys, and he has a heck of a game again. He probably had 8 tackles. And so he for sure thought he was going to potentially make the team. They cut him, and he was the highest graded linebacker in all of preseason that year. And so when in the NFL, when you get cut, a team has 24 hours to claim you off waivers. That means you go automatically to their 53-man roster. And so when the Raiders cut him, guys Hunter Renfrow and AJ Cole, guys that kind of know Drake and know the GM, they're kind of why did you cut him? He just had the best preseason as a linebacker in the NFL. Drake's 5'11", short arms, shorter linebacker, but he's a football player, and he's an incredible football player. So the Seahawks claim him, and so he's the first 11 weeks of the season, he's getting adjusted to being in Seattle. He's playing for Pete Carroll. He's playing on special teams mainly. Week 10, he tears his ACL, and they were playing at Baltimore, and he was getting garbage time at linebacker because at this point he was mainly just a special teams guy. And then he tears his ACL. He flies to California, gets surgery. Then he flies home for the rest of the season in the rehab here at NC State. And Mike McDonald gets hired that offseason. Pete Carroll steps down. Mike McDonald really doesn't know who Drake is. The guy that knows who Drake is the GM, Snyder. And basically they told McDonald, hey, this kid, he's a really good football player. He might, he doesn't have the tangibles that you would think as an elite athlete, elite football player, but he's really good. So they had a plan for him. Drake rehabbed every single day. He was up at 5 a.m. every day, finishes days at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Here at NC State, because we all trained here at NC State in the off season. And so it just got, he built it up where he recovered in 8.5, 9 months, which is really fast for an ACL. They put him in the last preseason game. That's when he was cleared. They put him on the 53-man roster again for the following year. And then last year, in 2024, he led them in special teams, tackles and all that stuff. And so then going into this year, he kind of told me like I'm going for somebody's spot at the linebacker, like to play linebacker. And like, you know, everybody has that intention and that goal, you know, going into the season. Like for me too, at receiver position, like that's always been my, like, I'm going to take somebody's job. It's kind of what you tell yourself. And, I mean, he did. He was splitting reps, you know, probably through the first 4 or 5 games, and then he made enough plays where the coach was like, all right, we're going to roll with you. And that's kind of how it happened. And, yeah, it's been quite a journey, quite a story. And, yeah, it's nothing but amazing what he's been able to do.
We're talking with Thayer Thomas here on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline, Heritage High School, NC State, former wide receiver at NC State, and the older brother of Drake Thomas. I'm glad you said you had a similar mindset at wide receiver, because did he lean on you? Because I look at your college career, walk on at NC State, and you become major contributor, all ACC, all those things. Drake in college, you brought up, right? Top recruit, shows up, he has a different experience. But then as an undrafted NFL guy, he's kind of going through what you had to earlier on. What advice were you giving him during that time, leaning kind of like, you know, sharing the wisdom you earned?
Yeah, I mean, in high school, it goes all the way back to high school. Like my first varsity football game was Drake's first varsity football game. Drake was a true freshman, and I was a junior. And I played 2 years of JV. Drake never really had to go through that, just because physically he kind of developed more than I did, and he was just a little bit more gifted on the physical side. And so, you know, it started in high school. Then I walked on at NC State after really only having one baseball offer out of high school at Davidson. I didn't even have any other walk-ons opportunities. Like, I didn't have a D2 offer. I didn't have a D3 offer. I didn't have – Dave Doran just happened to see me play one of the high school games. He came to watch Drake. He came to watch Aleem McNeil. He came to watch just other guys that we were playing Sanderson. And so he happened to be at the game, and that's how he saw me. And then Torrey Holt and Dwayne Washington were my coaches, so there was a connection there. And that's how I ended up at NC State. But, you know, when Drake gets – you know, Drake is a 4-star. He's, you know, his top 3 were NC State, Alabama, Clemson. Like, that's top-notch schools. You know, you go anywhere, really, he wanted to play football. And so, yeah, on draft day, when he didn't get drafted and I didn't get drafted, like, I felt like I kind of had been in that position before. And, you know, I could really, really tell he was upset on draft day, just because he had expectations. And then, I mean, I had expectations for him to be drafted. Like, you know, I knew there was a chance I could potentially be a day 3 late pick, but, like, no doubt in my mind that he was not going to not get picked. Like, there was 100% he was going to get drafted. And when he didn't, he was really upset. And I was more happy about, like, okay, I'm having, like, the next opportunities in front of me. I have, you know, a goal. I have something to attack now. Like, I can go do what I did in college in my whole life. And so, you know, Drake's mentality, I would say, really switched after he tore his pec in college. Like, he, you know, kind of was never about eating right. He was never really about working out extra. He just showed up and played, and he's always been good at, you know, doing that. And me, on the other hand, you know, ask anybody that knows me, I am very process-oriented. I need to get, say we're playing basketball, I'm going to get 500 shots a day. Like baseball, I'm going to hit 200 balls off the tee. And then football, like, I'm going to catch my, like, you know, passes and, like, make sure I do everything possible in preparation. And so, like, I showed Drake kind of how I went about everything. And now he is more like he's on the same level as me when it comes to that stuff. And, like, you know, Ernest Jones, the other linebacker for Seattle, he's the other starting linebacker. He said that, you know, Drake questions if he doesn't, like, makes him question himself if he's doing enough. And so he learned probably midway through college kind of how to go about it, and he's used that ever since, and that's why he's where he is.
Thayer Thomas connecting with us here on The Drive on 99.9 The Fan. Thayer, to transition to your other connection here, at least by way of checking out your social media a little bit and some of the grapevine kind of asking around about you, you're also somebody with a history with Sam Darnold from your time on the Vikings, where you were in their facility and Sam Darnold was as well. What's your relationship like with Sam, and did you see this gigantic glow up coming where, you know, he's completely kind of made people forget about the seeing ghosts stereotype reputation he had, and now he's just outdueling Matt Stafford on his way to the Super Bowl?
I mean, yeah, last year, my season with the Vikings, you know, we went 14-3 in the regular season, and then we lost in the playoffs. But, you know, you don't win 14 games by accident in the NFL. And he, you know, he had Justin Jefferson, he had Jordan Addison. But when he first got to Minnesota, like, his track record, it is what it was, and he obviously had something to prove and had a chip on his shoulder. And I don't know, our friendship began in the weight room pre-practice. We would do our, Coach O'Connell would give us an hour before practice to like warm up, do our body stuff that we need to get right for practice. And me and him were in there every single day, like doing our own things. But we noticed that, we kind of attracted to each other just because we were both in there the same time, same day, every day, just doing our thing. And we started talking more and more and more. And obviously through OTAs and practice, he liked kind of what he saw from me and how I ran my routes and got open and made plays. And I was running with the twos and he was with the first team offense, but there was times where they would throw me in with the first team offense. But I got more, majority of my reps with JJ McCarthy, but got some reps with Sam, but like just, we built a friendship. And so going into the season, he invited me to come work out with him for like a week where he lives in Dana Point down in Orange County in California. So I went for a week, ran routes with him, worked out with him, played golf, and just got really, really close with him over, before he blew up from last season. And so, he's just an amazing person. Like, there's not many guys like him. And I'm so happy to see the success he's having. And he's talented. Like the way he throws the ball, the way he's able to process information, see the field, make the right throws. He won 14 games this year, won 14 games last year. I mean, I think I saw something other than Tom Brady. Like nobody's done that in that span, in a 2-year span, and especially with two different teams. So it's crazy to see.
Just a few more here before we let you go, and we appreciate the time. But since you obviously have a relationship with Sam and you like the way you were kind of doing things at wide receiver, just to put on an analyst hat and help us out here a little bit, watching the game as a receiver that's been in those rooms with Sam Darnold and paying close attention to Seattle, obviously, what in your opinion makes Jackson Smith and Jigba so effective?
Yeah, I think his ability to play kind of inside and outside receiver. When you play only outside receiver, teams can kind of really take control of the game by playing a lot of cover two and playing guys over top of you. But when you get put into the slot, there's a lot more room, a lot more mismatches, and they're able to move him around to, specifically get him open in different areas of the field. And then just, his ability to catch the ball and run after catch, and he's just very smooth. Like, he's not a blazer, but he like is fast, really fast in and out of his routes and really just fast while running his routes. And, he's really, really good. And it seems like he has a knack for just being at the right spot at the right time. And as a receiver, you're always trying to, play timing with the quarterback because, it's all nice and dandy when you think you have all this time. But in the NFL, those guys that are rushing the quarterback are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to, create pressure and create sacks within a short amount of time. So the faster you can get to the spot the quarterback's looking for you to get is, the more optimal the offense will be. And that's what he does for Sam. So, yeah, I think he's just really on the same page with Sam, and they have a really good connection.
So your brother, your golf buddy are on Seattle. They're going up against a team quarterbacked by a Tar Heel. Are you the biggest Seattle supporter in the world going into these next 2 weeks?
I mean, yeah, like I obviously, but I have some teammates, on the Patriots. Like I played, like Garrett Bradbury was my center at NC State for 2 years, and he was also with me in Minnesota for 2 years. So there's connections there. I played with Corey Durden, who's starting, 3-technique nose guard for the Patriots at NC State. So, I mean, there's guys on both sides that I know, played with. And then John Giles from Wake Forest, he's actually on the Patriots too, as like a reserve receiver position. So obviously never going to, I'm obviously all diehard Seattle fan right now just because of Drake and everything. So, but it makes it a little bit easier to root for the Seattle with the UNC connection for sure.
What's next for you, Thayer? Are you doing the UFL thing? I saw you were drafted by the Battlehawks, training around here. What's the latest?
Yeah, so I was with the Broncos for the first 10 or 11 weeks this season, and I actually got hurt. And so I've been rehabbing just like a little small injury, but I'm, good to go. I did do that, get drafted by them. So my plan is to do that or potentially sign with another team in the next few weeks. So we're just trying to see what happens. But, yeah, going into year 4, playing professional football. I got to just, keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm excited for any of the future opportunities that come about.
We're rooting for you. Appreciate you taking the time to pass along some stories and try to enjoy the next couple of weeks. I'm sure it's going to be really cool for your family.
Yeah, definitely going to go out there, support Drake, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to, be a part of that. So we're definitely going to soak it all in and enjoy it. So I appreciate you having me on the show.
Once again, that was Thayer Thomas, Heritage High School right here in the area, and then obviously NC State, and a couple of different stops in his NFL career cheering on little brother, which I'm sure at times, right, sibling rivalries, you heard him bring it up. Their varsity games, varsity debuts were the same game despite him being 2 years older. But as you get older, you realize it's all cheering for everybody as much as those sibling rivalries still exist. Thayer Thomas, appreciate the time and good luck in his career moving forward as well. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. As you just heard from our guest there, if you're doing the trying to make a team thing, buying might not be in your real estate portfolio, or maybe you buy back at your home base because you're going to be moving around, bouncing from team to team, which is what happens in certain industries. Or maybe you buy and you want to get that equity. You might be there for a long time. And when you move, you got to move, right? When the job says you got to move, you got to move. That means you can't time the market, right? You can't sit around and wait for rates to be low. You have to make it quick, right? Every time I've moved, it's been, hey, we got like 2 weeks to get where we need to go. We need a place to live in 6 weeks, and it's always super duper fast. That's where Miller Lending can really help you out. They have something called the no-cost loan, which allows you to keep the closing costs in your pocket, right? No hidden surcharges, no fees, no closing costs. It's a no-cost loan, which allows you, if the market's a little higher than you want, rates are a little higher than you want, allows you to ease that burden a bit, and more importantly, gives you the flexibility if and when rates drop to refinance again with a no closing cost loan, get the lower monthly payment you were looking for, and still be in the house when you need the house. Miller Lending, check it out. Give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, the Dean's List, and we dive back into that NC State win over Syracuse. Stick around.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I took the gas hose out of my car's tank. Ooh, not smart. And I drove off while still attached to pump number 3.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
ESPN presents the NHL Stadium Series in a most unexpected place. A hockey takeover of Tampa, Florida and Raymond James Stadium, where the Boston Bruins collide with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nikita Kucherov! 2 teams take their shot at a one-of-a-kind game. The 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Bruins, Lightning, Sunday, February 1st at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
2nd and 9, snap back at the Campbell 34. Bailey pumps once, airs it out wide open. Anderson spins underneath it, touchdown. 34 yards down the left seam.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Appreciate Thayer Thomas, who just joined us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, former Heritage High School, NC State wide receiver, older brother of Drake Thomas, who's one of the key main characters of Seattle Seahawks defense heading into the Super Bowl. Also spent some time working out and being in the Vikings facility with Sam Darnold, so you can check that out on our YouTubes later on if you miss it, or on our 99.9 The Fan app if you missed it. You can go back and catch that as well. Do you know what's a little – I thought about this during the break. A tiny little nugget in there that I thought was interesting. Thayer was talking about his role on the team prior to, not this year that's just finishing up, but last year's Vikings season. He was in the Vikings facility, and in their practices, he was running with the twos often. This is before the year where Sam Darnold broke out with J.J. McCarthy injured on the Vikings. He said, I was running with the twos, which means most of my reps were with J.J. McCarthy. The first reps were Sam. And I thought that was interesting because most people believe, at least the narrative is, that J.J. McCarthy was going to be the starter until he got hurt. But if coaches don't play around with first-team reps, if they were going to Sam Darnold, he may have ended up getting that opportunity whether McCarthy got hurt or not. I thought that was just a little grain of interesting mixed into that conversation with Thayer. This isn't breaking news to us, but it's breaking news to some that are going to be very upset in the NFL world. Yeah. We need like a new sounder that's like a 50% breaking news.
Oh, okay.
Like a half. The report is out there.
Oh, okay.
Eli Manning will not be a Hall of Famer on his second try on the ballot.
Whoa.
I have to be honest. I thought Eli Manning was the quintessential second ballot Hall of Famer. Like, I completely understand not making him a first ballot because, he's probably resting too much on his postseason success for his Hall of Fame candidacy. But there was no way I thought he wasn't going to get in on the second try. He's 11th in most passing stats, yards, touchdowns, that sort of thing. He does have 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 4 Pro Bowls. I know Pro Bowls don't mean what they used to, but they did when he was playing for the most part. That's a wild one. So I guess
so who's in? Who's in?
So if you were involved in like the Brady versus Manning Giants Patriots Super Bowl, only Brady's going to get into the Hall of Fame.
Is he?
No coaches, no opposing team.
Is he?
Maybe not. Actually, he'll probably pull a Phillip Rivers and come out of retirement 1 or 2 more times. So
right.
I'll just kick the eligibility down the road. I don't know. The Hall of Fame still matters. It has to, but it's getting more and more confusing. Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Like, that's the goal, everybody. You know that, right? The goal is to win the Super Bowl, and the goal is to be the main guy on your team winning the Super Bowl, helping your team win. He did it twice. It's incredible. Incredible. I will see who gets in. Last year, they only had 4. You're allowed to put in 5 of the modern players. They only inducted 4. And Torrey Holt still hasn't got in. They could have put him in last year. They chose not to.
Maybe he's finally in.
I hope so. Well, do you know what they should? They should just do a weird 5 wide receiver class just to get caught up because there's this logjam at wide receiver. Put in Torrey Holt, put in Steve Smith Sr., put in Reggie Wayne. I'm blanking on a few others. I think Larry Fitz might be eligible in this one.
Yeah, Fitzgerald's eligible.
And
Steve Smith, the whole deal.
Yeah, just put in 5 wide receivers so you can get caught up so then guys don't have to keep waiting. And then the next year you'll have, I think it's Breeze is in this one. Breeze is getting in. 4 wide receivers and Breeze. There you go. That's the group for this year.
What about Kuechly, though?
I'm okay making Kuechly wait.
Yeah. If Kuechly can go in after a couple years, that's fine.
Just because the only reason is longevity. If he would have played 3 more years, I think he's first ballot, but it does matter. He's like a Gale Sayers of defense, or a Terrell Davis of defense.
Yeah.
It's like you got like an 8-year super, super, super strong window, but it's only 8 or 9 years. You kind of gotta sit that one out. That's no disrespect to Kuechly. If he's in, I'm gonna support the heck out of it. He is a Hall of Famer. It's just a matter of, is it now or next year? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll have to move on from the Dean's List. We'll mix them in throughout the show, perhaps. Spent a little bit too long with Thayer Thomas, so we'll put Thayer Thomas on the Dean's List. There you go.
There you go.
Former NC State guy. Before we move on and get to his school, NC State beating Syracuse in men's basketball, Dennis has something he wants to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. Something that I want everyone to be aware of this time of year is that obviously you're not going to see a lot of motorcycles out there on the road, but there's an opportunity out there for you to win something pretty freaking awesome. Because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky fan a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Simple to enter. You just got to go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. All you have to do is just go on there, fill out the information. It literally takes about a minute, and you're done. You're entered. Go to caniacsbike.com. The bike will be given away live on April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets in a catered suite. Again, tickets in a catered suite, plus a chance to win a Ducati motorcycle. You just got to go to caniacsbike.com to enter. March 29th is your deadline, but don't wait till then, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Obviously, that whole situation is cool, but I will pass this along. So, I've only done it a few times. Mm-hmm. Very, very rare opportunity. Nothing makes you feel like more of a big baller than a catered suite at a sporting event.
Yeah, I know, for real.
Just it's free? Okay, yes, I would like some. And you just load up and you can walk around. You feel like royalty darn near. So that's just, I haven't done it much, but I can't recommend it enough. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, NC State beat Syracuse last night by 20. What does that mean for State? Stick around.
It's the playoffs, and honestly, your living room isn't ready for this. Your couch doesn't have award-winning wings, your fridge doesn't have 30 beers on tap, and your TV, it's outnumbered. Carolina Ale House has wall-to-wall TVs. We've got homemade favorites, ice-cold beer, and enough screens to catch every game at once. So grab your crew, bring your appetite, and yell at the TV like a professional. Don't fumble your game day plans. Watch the playoffs at Carolina Ale House, where great sports deserve great food. Ale, yeah.
Big tax changes this year could mean a bigger refund, and Jackson Hewitt knows how to get you your biggest. You'll get $100 just to try us. That won't make you filthy rich, but definitely gas plus groceries rich. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back, which would make you low-key loaded. Or at least wealthy adjacent? Go with our trusted pros and get $100 to switch. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey, hockey fans, it's Trip Tracy. If you're ready to upgrade your outdoor living space, look no further than TimberTech Decking and Railing. TimberTech is the #1 premium composite decking brand, and it's tough enough to handle anything. It looks just like real wood, but without the costly maintenance of a wood deck. It won't rot, warp, splinter, or peel, ever. And it's backed by industry-leading warranties, so your deck will last year after year. Connect with a local contractor or order free samples at TimberTech.com to see the TimberTech difference for yourself. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
Raleigh, brace yourself for the ultimate party. Neo and Akon, two legends, one stage, one electrifying, unforgettable night. Neo and Akon present Nights Like This Tour, performing all their hits, live at Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Friday, July 10th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com, part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series.
To the end of the game, there's McNeil, a deep three-pointers up and down. That was 5 feet beyond the arc right. And Paul McNeil has 45, 11 threes tonight.
Well, you can see that he's feeling it because that was another deep bomb from three-point range.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. NC State, the Fighting Will Wades.
The Red Reckoning.
The Red Reckoning. It's funny when you give your, they kind of gave themselves a nickname there. Right?
Yeah, they
kind of dubbed it, which is, in the streets, you can't give yourself a nickname. You know what I mean? someone else has to dub it to you. If it's like a street ball nickname, you can't walk up to street ball and be like, my name, Hot Sauce.
I am the professor.
Yeah, you have to have somebody like anoint you. They kind of gave themselves Red Reckoning, which plays for you and against you. And what I mean by that is if you're not doing any reckoning, people will use that against you, right? They will make memes, they will laugh. But when things are going well, kind of cool, right? The Red Reckoning. I'm not sure if that's what I would have went with, but it's kind of cool when it's working. And right now it's working. Right now it is working. 88-68 over Syracuse. I actually think it could have been worse. I think it could have been worse early. If you watch the game, it was the first half was a very – it's almost like you're a little – if you're a State fan, you were probably a little worried because a classic way to be upset is to obviously be playing better than the other team and be up like 6. Right? It feels like you're up 20 because you're playing so much better. Your guys are making the plays, but for whatever reason, shots are going in and out, or the other team is getting lucky, making free throws. Every loose ball seems to be knocked out off your squad, and you're only up 6. It's like, ooh, I don't know. They're hanging around. Eventually, they did put them away, 1 by 20. That's what you need to do. I think in a lot of ways the story will be, and we started with it in the Big 3 at 3, Darian Williams, big game, right? 23 points, efficient shooting, did well from 3. After the game, the whole, I talked to a family friend on the phone. They told me I was playing soft, tried to take that into account. It's like a very good redemptive arc for a guy that's been up and down. But, there's – second time today talking about NC State. I'm going to go full sports movie, kids sports movie. I call it the Mighty Ducks theory, right? Because I name all my theories. The Mighty Ducks theory is we always want to put these really cool storylines onto teams, right? These this moment there was a disrespect and it put a chip on their shoulder and rallied the team, and the coach gave a great speech, and from that point on. But in actuality, if you really do look at it, there's usually a very logical reason for why a team kind of, upset everybody. The reason why I call it the Mighty Ducks theory is Gordon Bombay, right? Emilio Estevez's character gets all the credit, took District 5 all the way to the championship. And what very likely was the reason was they forced Adam Banks to go play for the Ducks, District 5. And Adam Banks is, everybody knows him, right? The youth sports league that you grew up in, there's the one guy that – went on to play pro. And if you took him from the best team and put him on the worst team, oh, look at that. The worst team's now the best team because he's the future pro. That's kind of the story of Mighty Ducks, only they give some cool speeches along the way. They took the best player from the Hawks, put him on the Ducks, Ducks win. So, and that usually happens in real life too, right? You see Marquette go on a run to the Final Four. What an underdog. And it's like, oh, they had Dwayne Wade. You see Butler, Brad Stevens. What a genius, right? He takes Butler to back-to-back Final Fours. They lose to, oh, yeah, look at that. Gordon Hayward's an all-star. There's Lehigh upsets Duke. Oh, CJ McCollum, right? It's like, oh, maybe it's not the scrappy upstart. They just have a really good future pro. If you look at this season and it's like, oh, Will Wade's gathering the troops together, and he's igniting a fire within them, and Darian Williams is up and down, but look, now he's playing scrappy. If you really look at it, the reason they're 6-2 in ACC play for the first time since 2006, the reason they're 4-0 to start their road schedule in the ACC for the first time in 50-plus years, the reason they're winning 8 of their last 10, the reason they're where they are, Van Allen Lubin's playing really gosh darn well, and Quadir Copeland's playing really gosh darn well. And they're doing so really consistently. They are at their best, don't get me wrong, when Williams is playing great and the offense is running through him. But the most hey, you can build on that foundation for State, Copeland and Lubin. And they're scoring more than we thought. They're whatever their other stat is, right? For Copeland, it's assists. For Lubin, it's rebounds. They're doing so at a high level. It might be the Red Reckoning. It might be all of these speeches. And I give Will Wade a lot of credit. He's trying everything, pushing buttons, pulling strings. He's playing every trick he has. But it might have been they did a really good job evaluating out of the transfer portal, bringing Copeland with them from McNeese State, grabbing crosstown transfer Van Allen Lubin out of the portal. Those guys are playing like they deserve a lot more recognition, but it is kind of boring when you're telling the story of a team with a new coach that's talking about logos and he wants to talk about retro jerseys and he's got these speeches and Red Reckoning and Darian Williams, ACC preseason player of the year and all of this to go, well, actually, the two super veterans that they brought in to play steady Eddie roles are just playing really well. Thus, they're fourth in the ACC at this point. Thus, they're winning games on the road, which is where you would lean on your veterans, right? It's kind of that deal. If you have a guy that's giving you 16 and 10, and you have a guy that's giving you, meaning 16 and 10 rebounds, and you have a guy that's giving you 16 and 8, meaning 8 assists, that's gonna give you a certain floor of how successful you're gonna be in a big-time conference. And yes, I'm not suggesting that they're the best players. I'm not suggesting they're the most talented. I'm not suggesting they're the most NBA forward-thinking. I'm just saying if you're looking for the boring explanation for why NC State is now seemingly gathering momentum, I think it can be as simple as two guys that have played well in multiple stops, but this isn't even their first transfer portal experience. They've both played at a few different places across the country and have been a certain level of effective at all of them. They're being effective again. And I'm not saying they're not raising their level, but you would hope somebody in their fourth year in college would raise their level and would have seen everything and would build off of what they put on tape in previous stops. They're fourth in the ACC right now. Fourth in the ACC, 6-2. They do have a tough schedule coming up, starting with the Louisville game, 3-4 games from now. They play 5 out of their next 6 opponents from that point on are all in the top handful in the ACC.
I think their next game's at Wake this Saturday.
They have at Wake, they have SMU, they have Virginia Tech. I don't know if they're home or away. Then they go, it's like Louisville. There's a Miami in there. There's a Virginia, Carolina, Duke. Like they really hit a stretch. But 6-2 is 6-2. And if you take care of business in the next couple, you can kind of punch your NCAA tournament ticket early. Here's Will Wade after the game last night about being 6-2 in the ACC and sitting kind of high up in those standings.
My thoughts are we should be 7-1, so I'm not real pleased with 6-2. So, we should be 7-1, not 6-2, but look, I guess it's good. I guess that's something you guys can write about, but I'm not very pleased with where we are. I think we should be better than we are. But, I guess 6-2 beats 5-3. But, the Georgia Tech game just still makes me pretty upset. So, but look, 6-2 is not bad, I guess, but we have, I strive for a little bit higher and better than that. And Virginia just whipped us. We weren't beating Virginia. They just whipped us. But the Georgia Tech game is a game we could have won. We had a big lead in the second half, 9-point lead in the second half, and blew it. So, we want to be better than that.
That's that. I'm not saying he isn't like a likable guy. That's the most likable I've ever heard Will Wade. Dennis, you'll appreciate this. I have a buddy, shout out to Johnny. His whole family's from Pittsburgh, diehard Steelers fan, like diehard. I wouldn't be surprised if, his first son is named like Franco or something like that. Like diehard Steelers fan.
Ben.
Yeah, something Tomlin, heck.
Hines.
It is like that where he could be having a great day, and if you bring up the Aaron Rodgers over the Steelers Super Bowl, you could tell Will Wade was just like, well, there goes my good mood. Thanks for making me think of the Georgia Tech game. Like I was doing well. We had just beat Syracuse. You brought up the ACC record. My mind went to Georgia Tech, and now my night is ruined. Like that's if we're like sitting around, having a couple drinks, having dinner, whatever, barbecue, and somebody brings up the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay over the Steelers Super Bowl, he'll be like, I'm taking the dog for a walk. I got to go clear my thoughts. Like it's just, certain games get stuck in your craw like that, and you're done. And Will Wade right there That's my buddy Johnny. He's just like, yeah, that one. Like you talk about other losses. Now that one they beat us. Now that one it's whatever. But that Green Bay loss, that Georgia Tech loss, that darn, like that's just funny. That's funny to me, and that's as likable as Will Wade has ever been. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're gonna take a break, but we have one of the most important positions on a football team to tackle for the Carolina Panthers offseason scores. Stick around.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now and see what option works best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760 now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmetier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle Area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Cold as of this midday with a mix of clouds and sunshine as opposed to the past couple of afternoons. High temperatures, meanwhile, in the mid to upper 30s. Overnight lows about 15 to 20 degrees, then back in the 30s for highs Thursday. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, up 12 points to 49,015.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4. Set your watch by it. Every day at 4 o'clock, 365 days a year, although not weekends because the show's only on weekdays. We talk football. And for the last however many days, we've been running a series on the Carolina Panthers to begin the offseason to remind ourselves, to question, to track how well they do this offseason. Well might not even be the right word, but how much they improve different positions each offseason. Where did they invest the most? Where did they feel the need to make the most changes? So what we've done is one day at a time, we've gone through each position and position group, and we've given them a score out of 100 and a description of the players under contract for next year, how comfortable we'd be if this is how they went into next season. And we're going to revisit these numbers near training camp, maybe during training camp next year, to see what they've added. See how much better they've grown. See if they've gotten worse, which would not be a good thing for most positions. And today, we tackle one of the most important positions on the field. Offensive line. The offensive line. The hog mollies, the big uglies, the road graders. I just realized offensive line are kind of like Gatorade in that a lot of times the names are just there, like the nicknames we use for them are just there to sound cool. They really have nothing to do with what like Hog Molly is the similar of like Glacier Freeze. It's like they both get the point across, but they really logically don't make any. What flavor is Glacier Freeze, right? What does Hog Molly mean? But we all get it, right? It all fits. I say Glacier Freeze, you know what we're talking about. I say Hog Mollies, you know exactly what position group we're going to. I gave them a 74 out of 100.
Okay.
74 with the acknowledgement that they would have been higher if Ike Ekwonu didn't get hurt right at the end of the year. The way I look at it is, as far as return, like the starters, the guys we expect to play big roles, they have 2 studs, they have 1 super dependable, and they have 2 question marks. And the issue being, the 2 question marks are at 2 of the more important spots, right? Left tackle is a question mark due to the Ike Ekwonu injury, and that's just a bummer for everybody involved. Injuries are the worst. Can't predict them. You got to deal with them, but you always feel bad for the player. And in a lot of ways, you feel bad for feeling bad might not be the right way, but it's because, you're still like an NFL GM. Oh, I'm going to cry for you. But obviously, like when you plan your roster and then all of a sudden you take away somebody that you had penciled in or maybe even, written in pen in for the future, it's like, goodness gracious. That's a tough one to deal with. Everybody deals with it, but obviously the Icky injury is an issue. You have Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis at guards. Studs, right? Those are good. When healthy, fantastic. The super dependable, that's Taylor Moton on the right tackle spot. He's the elder statesman in really the offensive meeting room. He's been around forever. He's the guy that can gather around youngsters. Let me tell you stories of Christian McCaffrey and Cam Newton. He can pass along the ways of the world. He probably even overlapped with like Kuechly and those guys, right? He can sit there and go, there used to be a defensive player in practice who knew everything I was going to do before I did. That stuff is valuable, and for the most part, he's been healthy. But when healthy and out there and 100%, he's a very, very dependable right tackle.
Yeah, he joined the Panthers in 2017, so Kuechly was definitely there.
27. So he's been around a while.
He was there the last time they made the playoffs.
Look at that.
Yeah.
There's this land where if you win, you continue, and if you lose, you go home. Chandler Zavala is really the only other name of any kind of importance that they have under contract for next year. The Cade Mays, the Austin Corbetts of the world are looking for deals. That is, I don't want to say unusual. I don't think there are many offensive lines that are completely set at this point. It's just, we really should have, not the more I think about it, we might have been more effective if we did like tackles and then interior offensive line, because asking any team to have a stack of 5 players signed, sealed, delivered at this point for next season is probably unfair. There's room for improvement, but there's also significant room for downfall. I don't think the offensive line was horrendous by any stretch this year. At times they were strong, and if you added Robert Hunt back because he was injured for a good chunk of the season, they could have been above average in most situations. So the 74 out of 100, the reason I went with that number is I was looking for a number. I guess 50 would have been the perfect example of this. I was looking for a number with significant upward mobility, right? Because I do think they can get better if they navigate things the right way and if they feel like this is a point of emphasis this offseason. But I also wanted there to be significant downward mobility because, if they attempt to do the Band-Aid thing at left tackle, like, oh, we anticipate Ike Ekwonu coming back, but we don't know when that's going to be. We don't want to spend a lot on an offensive tackle and then have Moton, Ike Ekwonu, and this guy. So we'll go try to, find the Josh Nijman of this year's offseason or whatever and try to bandage it over, I think that can be an issue, right? I think that can make Bryce Young's life more difficult. I think that can make Chuba Hubbard's life more difficult. I think that can make everybody's life more difficult. I think it can make Damian Lewis's life more difficult. But at the same time, if they really do go out and decide offensive tackle, strong draft, offensive tackle, one of those it guys in the draft fall to them at 19 and they want to solve it that way, 19th overall pick, or there's somebody in free agency that might be a little spendy, but they like the evaluation. If they go out and really knock home some of these, I think the offensive line can become even more of a strength, which would make a lot of sense with the way they want to call their offense and the way they want to play. So let's don't downplay it. Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt being as good as they are, being as ferocious as they are, it does give you a certain floor. And I don't think that's an accident that the interior of the offensive line is such a strength, because I do believe somebody somewhere in their evaluation believes that a quarterback like Bryce Young, a little bit smaller guy, likely would like a pocket to step up into. Right, and the way you do that is by fortifying the interior of the offensive line, which is the first thing that Dan Morgan's staff did when taking over the control of the roster. So I think there's a method to their madness. That method did not include a Nicky Ekwonu injury, I almost guarantee. So that's the wrench in the system, right? That's the curveball that they were thrown that they have to navigate. If they want to run the ball better than they did this year, I do think they target offensive line. I don't think it's the biggest need on the team because you do have a couple of studs there kind of anchoring things. But it's maybe the priority on the offense. If you ask me what the priorities are, pass rusher, edge rusher, edge rusher, edge rusher, then we might entertain tackle or offensive line as the next most important thing. Mm-hmm. Safety would be on that list. Some would say tight end or another wide receiver.
Off-ball backer, like you said.
Off-ball backer, although positional importance probably, at least price-wise, what you're going to invest in it a little bit lower. But I would not be – I'm not advocating for it. I would not be surprised, and I don't think I'd be upset if they – had an offensive lineman they really liked if they took him at the 19th pick in the draft.
All right, Tim, put your GM cap on.
Okay.
If there's a tackle,
I'll put my GM Ray-Bans on. We're talking Dan
All
Morgan
right,
here.
Exactly.
Got my
there
sunglasses. A little gel in the hair with the Ray-Bans. Now we're talking. Hit the gym. All right, I'm in the vibe.
All right. Put your GM Ray-Bans on. Your Dan Morgan. How are you approaching the 19th pick? Are you going into that first round anticipating I got to get a tackle?
No.
How are you approaching that? How are you approaching handling offensive tackle this offseason?
I am hoping there is a player I feel worthy of the 19th pick available that is either a offensive tackle with left tackle possibilities. Like I know it's become kind of the new trendy thing to draft somebody, right tackles in the first round are becoming much more possible.
Yeah.
I want a blindside protector. I'm old school. I want to watch the movie and talk about Michael Orr, and I want to draft a left tackle or edge rusher. If there is a left tackle or an edge rusher that I deem worthy of the 19th pick, and we're talking somebody that I have like a top 10 grade on that falls to 19, we're rushing that card up, and I'm excited about it. If that doesn't happen, there's a few other positions that open up, perhaps a safety, perhaps a wide receiver, perhaps interior offensive line, right, depending on where we're looking. However, if I'm not going offensive tackle in round 1, I think there's a pretty good chance I go offensive tackle in round 2.
Okay. If that's the case, though, what are you going to do free agency-wise in order to make sure that you at least have someone capable of playing in that spot before you even get to the draft? Because there's no guarantee with a rookie that what you're going to get.
That's quite frankly very tough. And I will say, right, I have my Dan Morgan hat on, so I'm going to pretend like
Ray-Bans on.
Darn it, my Ray-Bans on. So I'm going to pretend like I know exactly what Dan Morgan's thinking. It does appear as if his kind of and we haven't seen too many off seasons that he's been in charge of, but it appears like his philosophy is you at least semi-adequately fill all the holes in your roster and free agency, like something there, even if it's a placeholder, so you are not bound by a position in the draft, right? Like you want to have, if you need a left tackle, you get something, right? You get somebody with some starting experience somewhere, right? Somebody with 13 starts on the Raiders 2 years ago, right? Just somebody that you feel half adequate can fill that position. And then you're not going into the draft with if we don't get a tackle, or if we don't get a edge rusher in the first round, we're in trouble. So I guess it's hard to answer without saying what's available in free agency or what's available via trade or whatever. But I would expect them, even if they are even more targeted than I am, if they're saying the deepest position at the draft is offensive tackle, where there's definitely going to be one we like at number 19, I still think they get somebody that started games somewhere under contract prior to the draft. And then, you only play the rookie if they're ready. You'd hope they will be, but you would only play them if they're ready. I do think first-round picks, gone are the days of a first-round pick taking a redshirt year and learning. Mm-hmm. If you're drafting a first-rounder, you're expecting them to play from round one, from day one.
I think Yosh Nijman, you make sure you get him signed at least for a year.
Very similar. He's kind of a style of player. He started games with Green Bay before he ended up coming over to the Panthers. Weird circumstances, a lot of times injuries kind of thrown in. But either Yosh Nijman, or this is like a Hollywood, right? Or a Yosh Nijman type would make sense as that semi-adequate filling of the position so you don't have to force it in the draft. I love hearing the stories of in Hollywood of directors you know what we need? We need a Wesley Snipes type. And then they eventually get Wesley Snipes. It's like, oh, there you go. Right? It's like, we need a Yosh Nijman type. Yosh Nijman's agent's like, sure, yeah, let's do it. Oh, perfect. We were looking just for somebody like you.
Nijman started the season over because of the appendectomy that Ike Ekwonu had, but he also started the games against Dallas. He started Green Bay. He started the first game against Tampa.
And Yosh Nijman is a true swing tackle.
Yeah.
He is a backup to both, which is valuable to have on your roster. I wonder if they don't think they need something I think Nijman is exactly that. He's a really good swing tackle, right or left, backup. He's the I use this for quarterbacks a lot. He's the spare tire, right? The little donut.
Oh, yeah.
He'll get you to the auto body shop. He'll get you home. Probably not smart to drive cross-country on it. You know what I mean? Probably not smart to take him up to 65 on the highway. If you need 3 starts from Yosh Nijman, love it. If you need 3 months in a playoff run from Yosh Nijman, might see some sparks on the highway, right? You might not love that. I wonder if they don't think they need a little bit more permanent with the uncertainty from Icky. If it's Yosh Nijman and a first-round pick, I think I'll probably be increasing their score when we get to the training camp from 74. But a lot of that is dependent on somebody they like being there at 19. Because I'll say this on the record, full-throated. I hate forcing picks for position. I hate going, we got a 28th overall grade on this guy, but we need him at 19. Hate that. Hate it. And now we're talking 21 overall and you get him 19? Fine. But, we got an early second rounder on this guy, but we have no one else on the roster we can play at left tackle. I dislike that with a fiery passion. And we'll never know until we get those behind-the-scenes videos a month after the draft. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Unpredictable. Draft, what's going to happen above you? You don't know. You can pretend. You can listen to the analysts. The analysts say, no, this guy, stud tackle, he's going to be available for you at 19. He gets drafted 3rd overall. Similar to mortgage rates. Some expert, right? Your cousin's friend's neighbor who works in the industry. No, there's going to be Fed cuts in 2 months. Don't get your mortgage now. It's going to drop a ton then. It goes up over the next 2 years, right? You can't always predict it. No matter what anybody says, you can't. There's no way to. It's volatile. Miller Lending understands that and wants you to be flexible and adaptable enough to take advantage of that volatile market. Get a no-closing cost loan, a no-cost loan, which Miller Lending has been offering for decades here in the Triangle. So don't pay the cost, fees, no closing costs, none of that. If rates go up tomorrow, right, because you can't predict them, they're volatile. If they go up tomorrow, up for a month, cool. You locked in your rate, right? You're paying that monthly payment from when you got your mortgage. If they go down, opportunity, refinance, no cost, no fees, no closing costs. That's why they call it that. Refinance, all that money stays in your pocket, and you get the lower monthly payment. So no matter what somebody tells you, it's like the draft, right? Oh, no, he's going top 10. Yeah. Then they fall at 25. It's unpredictable. Rates are going up in a month. Sure, they go down, right? Miller Lending is there to help you take advantage of a volatile market. The number to call to learn more, 919-447-3377. No obligation call, by the way, completely free. 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, we play a game of blind rankings and get to our Hurricanes and cons. What are you most confident and most concerned about for the Carolina Hurricanes right now? If you want to, you can go into our YouTube live stream comments. The good ones we may pull out on air. Hurricanes and cons and blind rankings coming up.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It was a one-team market for Sam Darnold. The team that he won 14 games with last year didn't want him. The other teams around the National Football League, none of them really wanted him. Seattle paid him, but if you look at the structure of that contract, it really is a year-to-year proposition. And they were rewarded for taking a chance on Sam Darnold with him taking them to the Super Bowl.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Leaves, water, debris. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. There are a lot of things that can wreak havoc on your commercial property, and we are proud to be there for our dedicated customers that depend on us. From helping to design and build the roof for new construction, to maintenance, repair, and replacements, we've got the experience that you can count on. At RoofWorks, we don't want to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. Visit us at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-7098.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-7098. That's 800-575-7098.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. One more time, shout out to Thayer Thomas, former Heritage High School wide receiver, former NC State wide receiver, spent time with the Vikings and Broncos in his NFL career, and the big brother of Drake Thomas, who is I call one of the main characters, 96 tackles, 3.5 sacks, interception, forced fumble this season for the Seattle Seahawks, who are headed to the Super Bowl, and also a former workout/golf buddy of Sam Darnold during their time with the Vikings. So we talked to him about setting up the Super Bowl and what's going on in Seattle and all of that. Drake's path to the Super Bowl, also through NC State. Check that out. If you missed it earlier today, it was a cool conversation. I thought some of the roller coaster ride that Drake Thomas has gone on and Thayer Thomas, kind of, as brothers going through the whole, ACC football / NFL journeys together, was pretty interesting, right? And Drake Thomas, top recruit, his final was like Clemson, NC State, and whatever. And even he, when he got to the NFL, undrafted, holding a bag, holding the practice dummy at practice, and wondering, should I have come at it to the draft when I did, and all those things. he still ends up making almost 100 tackles for a team headed to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it'll probably start the Super Bowl.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy. Got a little banged up in the conference championship game. As long as he's healthy, I expect him to play a giant role in trying to bottle up Drake May and everybody over there with New England, which is ironically going to be one of his teammates, Garrett Bradbury, playing center for the New England Patriots, one of Thayer's teammates. May have overlapped with Drake as well. But anyway, the conversation was cool. I thought the insight into what's going on in their family was cool. Should be up on our YouTube and 99.9 The Fan. The
already
app,
there.
And all those things to go check it out. So thank you to Thayer one more time. And good luck to him. He's doing the UFL thing now. St. Louis Battlehawks draft pick. Battlehawks. Talk about cool names. Not just a hawk. This is a hawk in battle. This is a Battlehawk. Do you know Seahawks are mythical as well? My high school was a Seahawk.
Really?
Do you know what a Seahawk is?
What's that?
It's a hawk that lives by the sea.
Imagine that.
There you go. That's it. A mountain hawk? It's a hawk that lives in the mountains.
Imagine that.
They just name them by location. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We now have, and the best part about blind rankings is I'm completely blind going into them. So I'll pass the lead over here to Dennis, and we'll get into a blind ranking.
All right, Tim.
What's up?
Tomorrow night, Whalers night. Tomorrow night is Whalers night. So we're going to blind rank all-time uniforms.
All-time. Which, by the way, the Whalers uniforms are very, very good. I don't want to take anything away from them. The Whalers whale tail logo might be my favorite logo in sports. I think it is nearly perfect as far as simple, recognizable, awesome color scheme. Logo is fantastic, but we're ranking, you said jerseys, uniforms?
Yeah, just uniforms.
Okay.
This is across multiple sports, okay?
All right.
Across multiple sports.
People get really worked up about this. I'm worried about this, but I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm appropriately tense.
All right. First one, late 90s Toronto Raptors. Vince Carter, Penny Hardaway.
Cartoon dinosaur with the ball?
Yeah. Late 90s era. Toronto Raptors.
There is a personal connection here.
Mm-hmm.
Back-to-back years, I believe, Smithville Elementary School picture day, I had a white turtleneck underneath a Vince Carter, this exact era, purple with the dinosaur Toronto Raptors jersey. I was not a Raptors fan. I just really liked Vince Carter. This was peak dunking Vince Carter time. I want to say 3rd and 4th grade. Same turtleneck, same jersey, picture day. Kind of a ridiculous move by me. The very below the rim playing 3rd grader in a suburb in New Jersey. It's really good. There are others that are better in the sports world. I like that era of 90s logos. They had like the Grizzly from Memphis / Vancouver with the similar vibe. I'm going to go 3.
3?
Yeah. So this is, what are we calling this? 2000s Raptors?
Yeah, like late 90s.
Late 90s?
Yeah, late 90s Toronto Raptors. Okay, so yeah, late 90s Toronto Raptors at number 3. All right, next one on the list. The 1980s New England Patriots. The red uniform, the white helmet with the Patriot hiking the football. White pants with the red and white stripe. I'm sorry, the red and blue stripe.
This is another one. I like the Patriot Pat, the guy snapping the football. But I think the logo makes people think the actual uniform is much better. I'm not sure the full ensemble.
Oh, really? Not a fan?
It doesn't do it for me. But like, here's what I would do if I were the Patriots. I would go back to the Bledsoe era jerseys, right? Where they're kind of shiny. The uniforms almost look thick.
Like the silver and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Chargers are doing now, kind of wearing like the early 2000s. I'd go back to kind of that era. But everyone on the sideline that wears a hat would have the Patriot Pat logo right there in the front, the baseball hat. I just love the logo, not really the uniform. So I'm putting that 5.
Oh, you're going to put it at 5?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so number 3, you have the late 90s, early 2000s Toronto Raptors. And then you have number 5, you have the old 1980s New England Patriots uniform. Again, blind ranking uniforms in honor of Whalers night tomorrow night for the Carolina Hurricanes. Next one on this list, we have Penn State football. Just the navy blue, the
jerseys?
white.
Their practice jerseys is what they are.
Navy blue and white, just plain.
4. I'm not a fan of Penn State's. I like old school, hasn't changed, USC, Notre Dame, ones that are kind of have been the same for a very long time. Texas. For whatever reason, Penn State's, I've always been like, I don't know, throw a P on the side of the logo or the side of the helmet or something. Put it, or even better, I like the Alabama. Throw the jersey number on the side of that white helmet and just give it some character. Just blank. It's a practice jersey.
Okay. All right, so we have Toronto Raptors, late 90s, early 2000s era Toronto Raptors. You put them at number 3. But the 80s Patriots with the red uniform, with the Patriot snap. What's his
Patriot
name?
Pat.
Patriot Pat snapping the football. You
My dad's a New England. He's from New England, Patriots fan. I know. Maybe that's why I put it 5. I'm just like rebelling a little bit here.
That's totally fine. So you put them at number 5. Number 4, you put Penn State football. So you only have number 1 and number 2 available, by the way.
That's fine.
That's it.
That's fine.
You only have number 1 and number 2 available. Next one on this list, 90s Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Ooh. These are cool. I mean, they made like cartoon series out of these logos and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
These are cool. And I'll give hockey has in the hockey world, obviously super duper highly thought of. Other sports fans don't give hockey jerseys enough love. They're comfy. They're good. I like this a lot. I'm comfortable with it in 1 or 2 easily. But I need to judge body language on what kind of a heater or a dud you're going to throw me for the last one.
Well, it's either 1 or 2.
I know, but I'm saying, like, there are a handful of jerseys that are better than the original Mighty Ducks. But there's also obviously plenty that are worse. So I'm just trying to gauge. I'm fine with it being overall the 3 that we have here. I'll go 2.
Okay.
It's always a little risky leaving 1 open, number 1, but I'm feeling dangerous today.
All right, so
I'm hitting on 18.
The first uniform, again, we're blind ranking in honor of Whalers Night tomorrow. Blind ranking classic uniforms. I gave you the late 90s, early 2000s Toronto Raptors. You put them at 3. I gave you the 1980s New England Patriots with the Patriot Pat. You put them at 5. Number 4, you put Penn State football. Number 2, you placed the Anaheim Mighty Ducks from the 90s, which leaves number 1 open. Number 1 open. Which goes to UNC basketball blue uniforms with the Argyle.
I'm completely okay with that. That was not where I thought you were going, but because usually when people start talking about old-time uniforms, they're throwing out like the more novelty ones, like a throwback or a retro or a cityscape or whatever they call them in the NBA. Jess, you're going straight light blue, Carolina, Argyle down the side. I'm fine with that. I think, and I've said this for a long time, although now with NIL, it's kind of changing. I think UNC, obviously basketball took advantage of it, right? UNC basketball was like the coolest thing for years and years. Jordan helps with that. But I thought, before NIL, I want to be clear on that, because now everybody's just going to the highest bidder. When Q score and how cool you were mattered so much more in college sports. Players wanted to go somewhere because everyone was just offering the same scholarship. I used to think UNC football was just a sleeping giant because the branding, the uniforms were cool, the Argyle was kind of swagger. I'm fine with this list entirely.
All right, so the final list goes, again, blind ranking classic uniforms. Number 1, you have UNC basketball with the Argyle. Number 2 goes to the 1990s Anaheim Ducks. Number 3 goes to the Toronto Raptors of the late 90s and early 2000s. Number 4 goes to Penn State football. And number 5 goes to the 1980 New England Patriots.
If I did this not blind, if you just gave me these 5 and said rank them, I think the only thing I would change is I would put the 80s Patriots over Penn State.
Yeah.
That's the only change I would make. And also, not saying the others aren't good. I think this was a very solid blind ranking on your part, bringing up ones that I wasn't anticipating. Everyone could have done the powder blues. Everyone could have done the Yankees pinstripes. You went a little deeper cuts, and I appreciate that.
went off the beaten path a little bit. Creamsicle, Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Buccaneers.
There are certain jerseys that get brought up all the time. Not saying they're bad jerseys. Just saying they've been done before. I don't know if many people are throwing the Mighty Ducks or just a straight UNC basketball light blue out there. Those were good, and I like them. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is a blind ranking. Always fun when we get into that. Also, you didn't throw the Whalers at me.
I did not throw the Whalers at you.
Whalers would have been possible. But the reason why it was all inspired is the Canes are wearing the Whalers jerseys tomorrow. Should be a really fun one. Thursday, home game, all those sorts of deals. And it's also a good time, kind of middle of the season here. Long way into it, long way to go to do a little Hurricanes and Cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
And speaking of jerseys, they're playing Utah tomorrow, the Mammoth.
Beautiful uniforms.
One of the better created recently entire brands that I can remember. Most of the time, any expansion in the last 20 years, not great. A lot of like computery looking logos, jerseys that look like you made them on NCAA football created team. The Mammoth for Utah, it's a good logo. It's good color scheme, good jerseys, matches the area. There's like a regional connection because I don't like when they're like, we're from Detroit and we're going to be the Wave Riders. And I'm like, what? That makes no sense. Like all of it, Mammoth, aside from hockey, solid job in your branding.
I think it was great. Yeah, the colors are beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool logo.
Yeah, all of it. I'm with it. Branding, it's all good there.
Hockey's done it well in the last few years. With them, I think Seattle's uniforms are awesome.
Seattle people got a lot of love. I'm a little lower on them than kind of the consensus, but I'm not against them at all.
And then I think Vegas did a pretty solid job too. Golden Knights.
Yeah, I thought they could have done something more Vegas-y, right? Like Golden Knights. I mean, should have been, I don't know, something casino-related or Wild Wild West-related. Just because it's Vegas. I like the regional connection. Desert-related could have been something. Golden Knights is a little generic for me. But the logo is cool, and anytime you go black and gold, they just pop. Either way, we are on to Hurricanes and Cons. What are you most confident? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? And as always, when somebody has good news and bad news, which would you like? You take the bad news first. So we'll start with concerns. Dennis, why don't you go ahead and lead off? What are you concerned about most right now for the Canes?
My biggest concern going forward with the Carolina Hurricanes right now overall is still the penalty kill.
Interesting.
I think the penalty kill as a whole there's a whole other level to it. I know dealing with injuries on the back end have definitely been terrible for that penalty kill as a whole because obviously you had chunks of time where you missed Keandre Miller, you missed Jacob Slavin obviously for much of the season. Chatfield missed a short bit of time as well, so you're having to play a lot of younger guys in different roles. So I think that's definitely hurt the hurt the penalty kill, but then also you have guys like Eric Robinson's hurt, who's a big part of your penalty kill as well, which it makes guys like Jordan Saul, Jordan Martinook, Seth Jarvis, who missed time as well, Sebastian Aho, have to add a little bit more, which kind of adds a little more wear and tear as the season goes along. So to me, it's just the penalty kill, just the injuries on there have affected that unit a whole lot. So I'm not as confident as I used to be in it over the last several years in the PK.
Interesting. I don't think this is the wrong person to put too much kind of credit in. But I've just been assuming like Slavin's back, PK great, and just moving on with that. So I'll dive in a little bit more, start watching with a little bit more critical eye, which sometimes you need to be reminded to do. My concern, and quite frankly, this is also something that I think has been inceptioned into my mind a little bit. The centers, and not any one center, but I think I'm having so many conversations about potential trade targets. And all these centers that everybody is fantasizing about bringing to the Carolina Hurricanes, that like my subconscious, it's starting to soak in through osmosis that I'm like, yeah, they do need a better center. I'm a big fan of Logan Stankoven, and I know he's in the future somewhere. And maybe this is me just, like I said, I've been infected by the got to trade for a 6'3" center because Logan can't. Maybe that's rubbing off on me a little bit, crowd. But yeah, I think it's the center position, and then whether it's Jankowski or Kokiniemi, I think they're both, I think Kokiniemi really could be a really good fourth-line center if he's down there, but it seems like Jankowski gets a lot of those reps. For whatever reason, for however it's going, I'm a little concerned about center. Obviously, that doesn't include, like, Aho and Stahl, but, their position group is their position group. Like, I can worry about let me think of a good example here. Like the Jets wide receivers, even though I'm a massive fan of Garrett Wilson, because it's like, yeah, you need more than one. So, centers. What's your confidence?
Confidence when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, I've said this before and I'll say it again, is the versatility that they have in their lineup. I actually talked to Rob Rennemore a little bit about this earlier today, about how you have a guy like Taylor Hall can play up or down the lineup in different spots, and he's embraced what he's being asked to do on the defensive end of the ice as well. But you can have Nikolai Ehlers play up and down the lineup as well. The fact that you can mix and match different guys to play with different people is a benefit to that team, because you know that at any point, if you had to put Seth Jarvis with Stahl and Martinook, that can easily happen, no problem. The fact that it's been working a little bit with Ehlers playing with those two guys, you can have Ehlers play up there with Aho and Jarvis or whomever it might be. The fact that you can move pieces around, so when there are injuries or you need to tweak things a little bit, the fact that you can do that, massive bonus. Even on the defensive pairings as well. We've seen different guys, out of necessity, have to skate in different pairs throughout the entire season. Having that lineup versatility is big.
Mine is depth. And obviously, based on my concern, maybe remove center from this a little bit. But, like, if you looked at the practice lines or the lines from practice today?
Yeah.
Whether you want to admit the Stahl line is the third line or not, like, Nikolai Ehlers is on that line.
Yeah, I know.
That's bananas, right? And if you say they skate second line minutes, okay, then you have Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, and Logan Stankoven on your third line. Like, one of those is bananas to think about. Carrier, Kokiniemi, Jankowski on the fourth line, you might not, like, any kind of, like, they need to trade a guy for Kokiniemi out there is based on the fact that they think you need a second line center. Not that he's not a fourth line center. The depth is crazy. And then you look at the blue line. Like, what is Gostisbehere, Nikishin? If Gostisbehere plays, is that your third pairing?
That's your third pairing.
I mean, what are we doing here? That is Gostisbehere still has to be over a point per game. And Nikishin is one of the most physically gifted dudes that have been promoted into the bigs in a while. Like, that's a crazy pairing. So, yeah, depth. That's what I'm rolling with. And I guess take out goalie as well, because the depth there seems to be a little shakier than you'd like. But, hey, Brandon Bussi. Which, by the way, Brandon Bussi was on Kane's Corner last night. Obviously, you don't learn anything about, like, him as a hockey player and then we can go ahead and cut the music for cons and cons. This will be a quick conversation. It's not like you leave the conversation at Kane's Corner, him chatting with Mike Maniscalco for an hour going like, I now understand why he gets to so many high leverage chances and has stopped such a high percentage. But you do leave going, you know what? Like, I want that guy just in our community. He just seems like the nicest guy on the planet.
He stayed for an hour yesterday signing autographs.
It's almost like he says the media trained thing naturally, like it's what he would, like, you believe him, right? Because everybody gets the, hey, make sure you're humble. If they say this, you almost know, like, well, I got to give credit to the defenseman in front of me. But like every answer, every self-depreciating answer, or every like, hey, I got this system in front of me that helps. It's believable. I left going like, yep, fits in, culture, good, guy, solid, let's rock. Easy guy to root for Brandon Bussi last night. And we'll have some more insight into that conversation coming up in a little bit. Coming up right now, we have some more insight coming to you from Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here real quick for Loan Pronto. Low mortgage rates, they're back, folks. Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, the lowest in years. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you could lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get out of your home equity, or get cash out of your home equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and paid off some car loans and cut their monthly expenses by $2,000. Call now and see what options works best for you. But don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Darian Mensah, committed to Miami. Shocked. Is there anything that needs to happen next? Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
Folks, Brandon Bussi just might be the guy. The performance against Buffalo, the consistency of performance, the fact that in his 22 starts, 13 times he has allowed 2 or fewer goals. Do you know what Carolina's record is when the goalie allows 2 or fewer goals? They are 18-1. That says it all.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot, 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I realized I did mention the Brandon Bussi conversation on Kane's Corner last night, and I failed to mention that you can go listen to it if you missed it on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. It was live streamed, so you can go check it out. Just you got to fast forward through like 6 minutes of Freddie Coleman and Harry Douglas at the beginning of the video. But once you get through there, it's Brandon Bussi. You could also just scroll, like grab the little dot on the timeline and just move it till you see Mike Maniscalco and Brandon Bussi. It's quite literally that easy. It's a good conversation. Check it out. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. While you're there, subscribe, right? And set alerts and check out other content and pass along links to your friends. We would greatly appreciate it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Darian Mensah committed to Miami. I never... I don't know if there was a move here where they could have waited like a day or something just to make it seem, I talk about this in quarterbacks and teams at all levels. The best analogy that I've found is dating relationships, right? You date a team, you date a quarterback until eventually in the professional levels you can marry them. And that's with the, $50 million a year, 5-year contract. And it's like, all right, we're in this thing for the long haul, right? Now, if we get mad at each other, we can't really separate, right? Now, mad means I'm going to the basement for a few minutes and I'm going to play some video games and come back upstairs. You see that with Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins, right? If there's probably 3 times over the last 4 years that they would have broken up if they hadn't already gotten married with the long-term contract. But that contract is the ring that keeps them together. Darian Mensah was dating Duke. He broke up with Duke and it was messy, right? Their lease was still going for another 6 months, and they had to break the lease, and they had to look at the contract, and they had to see who was on the hook and who's going to get the security deposit back, and they got lawyers involved, and who gets custody of the dog. They did the whole thing. It was messy. Friends were caught in the middle. It was awkward. Darian Mensah got Cooper Barkate to be on his side. Duke got Nate Shepard to stay with them. And now they're not allowed to be on the same bowling team. Like, it was a messy breakup.
Kick a few flyer miles our way. That's fine too,
Shout out to Wedding Crashers. If you didn't know, it's erroneous. Erroneous on all accounts. It was an ugly breakup. If there is honor in a breakup, sometimes there is none. But if there is honor in a breakup, you don't post on Instagram the next day you with your new boo, right? Even if you're enjoying yourself, right? You're free. You're a grown person. You're no longer in a relationship. You can do you. Let's not make everybody have to see it so quick move is to wait a week, wait a month, wait however long you feel comfortable before you start, flaunting the couples trip you just went on to Cabo with a new girl or a new guy. Because if you do it the next day, right? You break up on a Tuesday, Wednesday you're catching flights to Panama City Beach. It becomes very obvious that you didn't wait till the breakup to start planning the next trip, right? Now, I don't know if Darian had to enroll in class, right? So he couldn't do hold on, let's wait 3 months, let's make this seem honorable. He couldn't even wait 3 days because you got to get there, you got to get rolling. But it's so unbelievably obvious. And I'm not breaking news here. I don't think I'm the only one that figured it out. I'm not the genius Sherlock Holmes investigator. I'm not Daniel Craig in Knives Out. I'm not the only one that sees how this is all breaking down. I'm not Adam Sandler in Murder Mystery for 2 different types of movie fans. Tampering happened here, right? Like the clues lead me right to, okay, everybody knew how this was going to go. The only way they could know how this was going to go from the very beginning was tampering. Should they just remove the rule? Should they just remove the tampering rule and say it is unenforceable? Say there's nothing we can do? Say there are too many loopholes or workarounds that we just cannot simply investigate or monitor this? Because not only would it be, the alleged tampering happened between 2 schools that had high expectations next year, big money decisions, but they're in the same conference. They're supposed, there are rules and then there are codes, right? There are guidelines and then there's honor. Miami is following none of it. But if that, again, to go back to the relationship analogy, the bro code is broken and a few laws are broken. They're both broken. And if nothing is going to be even possibly happening here, take the rule off. Did anybody hear the Dabo Sweeney scorched earth? Will everybody please pay attention to Artifact A, Section B of my evidence that player X has been tampered with? Dabo Sweeney held an entire press conference illustrating how one of their linebackers that they got out of the portal was immediately tampered with by Ole Miss, and there was evidence, and there was everybody, literally, it was like he was in court. Here's our evidence A, evidence B, evidence C. As you can now see, I've presented my case. And it was big news for like a day. Right? Everybody was, woo, Dabo's going for it. Dabo Sweeney this. Whoa, he's pulling out all the stops. He's doing this. He's going to point the finger. And 24 hours later, the kid's just enrolled at Ole Miss. He's making a bunch of money, and nobody is talking about it anymore. Either there's a governing body, whether it's the NCAA, in Miami and Duke's case, the ACC perhaps. Either there's somebody that's going to be a judge on this and make rulings and decisions, or there has to be the other way. I don't agree with this, but there has to be the other way unwritten rules are settled in sports. In baseball, you break an unwritten rule, you got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming up around the shoulders, perhaps in the face. In hockey, you break an unwritten rule, you have fists coming up around the shoulders, probably to the face. Right? There has to be either governance or self-governance, because Duke can't just sit around and let this happen. Right?
I mean, they did sue.
They sued. They got some cash. Guess what they're looking for? I assume they got some cash. We don't know what the settlement is. They're looking for a quarterback. And maybe it's Mahan on their roster. Maybe it's a San Jose State kid everyone's pinning on him. But they won the ACC last year and had super high expectations, and that's gone until they figure out what else is happening here. And you can't just get bullied like that. You're getting poked on the recess field, just in the chest over and over and over again. And you never want to advocate violence, but I think most parents would say if there's enough bullying, you got to stand up for yourself at some point. If you go to the teacher and you say, hey, this is happening, and nothing happens. You go to the teacher, you say, hey, this is happening, and nothing happens. And the teacher sees it happening and nothing happens. Eventually, you're going to take it into your own hands. I don't know what Duke can do, but something has to be done. You know what would be hilarious?
What's that?
And I'm not advocating for any of this because it's actually a little friendly fire on the other sideline. If the next 4 years consecutively, Miami's leading basketball scorer transferred to Duke because they just offered a stupid amount of money, Manny Diaz just goes to Shire hey, listen, you're 10th guy on the bench. I know you're bringing in 5 stars. I know you're bringing in guys from overseas that are great. And I know, you probably got another set of Boozer twins on the flowing down here at some point. But if you could just take a little bit of that basketball money and make Miami's life kind of rough for the next couple of weeks or next couple of years, I'd really appreciate it. It's not the same as striking on basketball, but it could give me a little safe face. It would help that, whatever it is, Shelton, the kid, one of the better players for Miami, actually was committed to Duke before he switched to Miami when Miami hired their new coach right off of Duke's sideline.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm just saying there's possibility there. Because I don't know, man. It is the, every person's got to step up for themselves a little bit. And if you're just getting bullied, you might lose the fight, but you got to fight back. And if the ACC is going to do nothing about it, the NCAA is going to do nothing about it. If Clemson can't get anybody to do anything about it, either the self-governance has to happen, or I don't know. We could be in for a long downward spiral. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You know what? It could be a self-governance way. Maybe the actor goes to the victim in these situations and say, hey, what if I send you over some sweet pre-owned and vintage Rolex, no harm, no foul, right? Little peace offering, little olive branch here. I don't know if that would work for the schools. That would work for me. I'd go, oh, you're right, you're good. This sounds good. Just make sure you get them from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry and the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, which is located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry. I'm a bit of a massive watch fan. I have a red little pop of color G-Shock, which you can get from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, by the way. They are a G-Shock retailer. Very durable. But that's not what we're talking about right now. What we're talking about right now is Very excited about an upcoming event at Fox and Bailey on February 12th, so just a couple of weeks from now. They are hosting an Olympic Omega hockey watch party. It's going to be from 3 to 6, so hopefully you listen to this show while you're in the mix there. But it's going to be a fun afternoon celebrating the games, checking out all the watches. The Olympics would be on. Obviously, Omega is the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games and has been for almost a century now, going back to 1932. So if you want all of the technology, innovation, durability that goes into keeping time in extreme cold, high speeds, intense physical impact situations, you want to take that engineering and put it right on your wrist, check out the Omega Watch, the Omega showroom to check out your favorite Omega watches, luxury timepieces at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in the Village District. And be sure to stop out there February 12th for their Olympic Omega hockey watch party. And when you're there, let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. We will take a break when we come back. It's starting 5 time where there's kind of a hilarious story out of the NFL. Stick around.
Listen for the oh my goodness.
Sears pulls up left wing 3. Ring it up. A dagger. A dagger by Sears.
They got postered.
Rebound battled for. Picked down Badunga. Rejected emphatically by Coleman Hawkins.
What in the what?
Maddox for Xavier. He'll throw a bounce pass in the lane for a two-handed jam.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan.
What does it mean to win this award to you?
It means a lot to me, just being recognized for all my hard work on and off the court.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No, we'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. Another cold day out there this afternoon. At least we have the sunshine, but temperatures staying in the 30s. And then it turns very cold tonight. We're back down into the upper teens tonight. Heading into Thursday, we'll have some clouds around and it stays cold with highs in the upper 30s.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka. Blue Shark Vodka. I'm just going to go ahead and start this one all over again. Just take a little sip of water.
Have you had some
here.
recently? Is that what's going on here? That's the move.
Cleanse the palate. All right, here we go. Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. Nailed it. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 12 points today to 49,015.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5. And as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The Senior Bowl is going on. I would say the more important part of Senior Bowl is going on. Practices. These college all-star games, obviously the games matter, and they can impact evaluations and everything. But every scout I've talked to, every front office executive I've talked to, most of the analysts I talked to would agree. They learn significantly more at the practice sessions than they do in-game. Because the game, it's too difficult to expect, proper reads to be made and everything in a playbook that you just picked up. But at practice, one-on-ones, physical evaluations, drill work, you can see how a player moves, you can see how a player reacts against elite competition. So right now, or I don't know if it's exactly right now, but yesterday through tomorrow are the open practices, which are pretty darn important. And if you look at the rosters, there's a good amount of people that are from our area that are in the mix. From Duke, there is Vincent Anthony Jr., the edge rusher. Chandler Rivers, secondary. From Carolina, Thaddeus Dixon, the secondary player, corner. And then from NC State, Kean Sloan, the edge rusher linebacker, and Justin Jolie, the tight end. There's also Shrine Bowl going on. There's the American Bowl last week. There's a bunch of others. Senior Bowl is seen as kind of the top, but some would argue otherwise. There's good players that have come out of all of them.
Yeah, and it's, again, like you mentioned, it's an opportunity for you to practice directly in front of a coach, in front of scouts, in front of GMs, because they're at those events. I think the East-West Shrine game is actually today.
I believe it's today as well, yes.
But yeah, the Senior Bowl practices and stuff are going on. So it's a chance to showcase yourself. I know, was it Brian Parker?
Yep.
From Duke, the offensive lineman, is
second.
at the East-West Shrine game and all that. So again, this is your true, I can show you my actual skill, my work ethic, all those things directly in front of your face, not just on a TV screen. You can actually see it up close and personal, and also talk to me.
It's also a chance if you have a secret, right? If you have a skill set that you think translates to the next level, that because of the way you were trying to win in college, you maybe didn't get to show. For example, Brian Parker, the second of the Shrine Bowl. Tackle for Duke, right? Like bookend, tackle. He's playing center at the Shrine Bowl in certain practices and certain drills, and he's showing the NFL that, yeah, I could be an undersized tackle, or I could be a more than big enough interior offensive lineman center, and I can follow in the path of Graham Barton, who I believe would have been a teammate of his early on in his career, jumping from tackle to center in the NFL and being a first-round pick. And then Barton earlier this year, due to injuries, slid out and played tackle for Tampa Bay for the Buccaneers a little bit. And then once everybody got healthy, moved back to center. So, if you're Justin Jolie, right, tight end, NC State at the Senior Bowl, if I'm being real, I think everybody knows you're a very, very athletic pass catcher. Contested catch, run after the catch. Your tape proved that. If I go to the Senior Bowl and I'm Justin Jolie, I'm bringing my blocking shoes, right? I want to get out there and I want to be really physical. He measured in at 6'3", 250, which, by the way, the measurements at these things are also very important because they're, I believe, done by the same people at the Combine.
Yeah, it's all done by the NFL.
And it's super, officially official, right? No stuff in your pockets with weights and being like, I gained 10 pounds.
No lifts on the shoes.
Yeah, and I got measured in one time by an NFL team. I don't even know if this is legal. Had a little hot stretch. Scout came through. 3 of us were measured. They make you put your heels together against the wall and lift and wiggle your toes because I guess guys would kind of curl their toes and it would feel like they're sturdy on the ground. So they actually look down barefoot and make you wiggle your toes. I'm like, wow, you guys have really thought of everything because I know all the tricks to get another half inch.
Interesting.
I'm 6'3" and 7/8. So that was my official height. So I know all the tricks to get to 6'4". I'm on an eighth of an inch. I'll spike the hair.
Pick socks. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm doing it all. And
visit a chiropractor real fast.
Yeah, I'll go hang from a pull-up bar for 10 minutes before we measure in. But they no, there's 6'3" and 7/8 exactly. They got it. So, there's no program fudging going on here. So 6'3", 250 for Jolie. Great, good numbers. I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but a lot of the tight ends you're going up against are going to be 265. So you're going to have to show you can anchor down and block like somebody 15 pounds heavier than you. And that's what I would be showing trying to show if I were a player like Jolie at the Senior Bowl. It's almost like whatever your A skill is, do it. Don't hide it from them at the Senior Bowl, but show off your B and C skill a little bit as well to make sure everybody knows you're as well-rounded as you could possibly be.
By the way, I think tight end is a weird thing because you see tight ends that weigh in at 235, and you also see tight ends that weigh at 270. Like, it's just a wide range.
It's probably, I don't know when this happened. When I was coming out of high school, like the recruiting rankings and everything were like, where were you ranked amongst quarterbacks? And sometime between then and like 5 years ago, they've gone all in on there's like two separate rankings. There's quarterback dual threat and quarterback pro style. And they act like they're two completely different positions. It's probably about time we do that for tight end, where it's like, are you a tight end? I guess they do them kind of Y's and U's or Y's and H's. Are you a inline blocking tight end, or are you a Brock Bowers where you're a receiver that's a little bit heavier tight end? It's probably time we do that, because Jolie would be more of the pass catching tight end. Like if they, and then there's other guys. Think Mitchell Evans of who was drafted out of Notre Dame to the Panthers last year. More, he brings blocking to the table in a different way. Are you, who's the Steelers guy? Darnell Washington? Are you Darnell Washington, or are you Pat Freiermuth, right? It's technically tight ends, but barely the same species. That's number 5, by the way, the Senior Bowl going on. By the way, starting 5 brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RICCIlaw.com. That's RitchieLaw.com. And that was number 5. How about number 4?
1, 2, 3, 4 all together. What?
The NFL coaching carousel continues to turn. I saw earlier today, 18 teams, new offensive coordinators.
Really, 18?
More than half the league when you count for teams that fired their coach, lost their coordinator, offensive coordinators that got other head coaching jobs, and head coaches that needed to change up and fired their offensive coordinator. 18 different offensive coordinators going into next year.
It's kind of wild.
Obviously, some of that is just shuffling around, right? You take my offensive coordinator, I'll take your offensive coordinator, and we'll change your scenery. But some of it is like legit just turnover in the NFL. If you're not Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay, everybody wants a new OC. Also, some head coaching news. We didn't get to this much yesterday, but Joe Brady, head coach, Buffalo Bills. Joe Brady, that Joe Brady.
Yeah, another former Panther coordinator being a head coach in Buffalo.
Matt Rule brought in Joe Brady and Sam Darnold and still couldn't win games.
Nope.
I think all of those narratives are a bit overplayed. But I don't get what Buffalo's doing there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
You fired a guy because you needed change, obviously, right? You needed something fresh. You need a new voice. That's why you fired Sean McDermott, right? Because you were making the playoffs every year, so it wasn't for lack of regular season success. Josh Allen was, an MVP and all this superstar everything. So it's not because you weren't getting the most out of your best players. You fired Sean McDermott because he needed a fresh voice, then you promoted a voice from within that was already there. It takes away like the best examples of what they did. When they fired Sean McDermott, I was like, I see kind of what they're doing here, right? Tony Dungy ran stale in Tampa, so they brought in John Gruden, boom, Super Bowl, right? John Fox had grown stale in Denver, so they brought in Gary Kubiak, boom, Super Bowl. But those are very different people, right? Those are like Tony Dungy to John Gruden is night and day. John Fox to Gary Kubiak, very different. This is like, we need to get rid of Sean McDermott. It's grown kind of stale. We're going to keep the same guy. I don't get that. Oh, and then the other news. Todd Monken, the most recently Ravens offensive coordinator, got the Cleveland Browns job. Now, what I'm about to tell you, the little storyline narrative here, it's pieced together from insider reporting. seems like this is how it went down, but, obviously with insiders, you got to consider the leaks, who's talking, who's not, who's anonymous, whatever. This is a Brownsy situation. So the reports are that they, went through an entire coach's search, interviewed for the last month. They've been interviewing guys and telling all of them, you have to keep Jim Schwartz as your defensive coordinator. They were happy with what's going on defense. So whoever's the head coach, Schwartz is your defensive coordinator. Just helped Myles Garrett get the record, and they had good defense. They're happy. And turns out that's a deal breaker for a lot of super control freak coaches. So they got turned down by a whole bunch. This is, again, or at least remove my name. Maybe turned down is the wrong way, but I'm not interested. I don't want to interview. Then they finally get a guy in Todd Monken that they want to hire who's like, yeah, I'll do the offense. Schwartz can do the defense. We're cool there. And as soon as they hire Monken, Jim Schwartz is so mad that they didn't hire him and hired Todd Monken that the reports are Schwartz went in today, said bye to people, and was like, I'm done with the Browns. So they turned down or couldn't come to a even interview with some guys because they were going to force Jim Schwartz on them. They finally find a guy who's okay with Jim Schwartz, and Jim Schwartz isn't okay with that guy and leaves. Oh, Browns. Brownsy. At least they have a Pro Bowl quarterback. Shedeur Sanders. That's number 4. How about number 3? We have some Hall of Fame news from yesterday and some side news for today. Bill Belichick, head coach of the Carolina Tar Heels, is not a first ballot Hall of Fame pro football Hall of Fame coach. How? Fantastic question. I don't know. I kid you not. This is what I think should happen next. There are reportedly, on whatever committee elects coaches, there are 50 members, and you need to have 40 or more than 40 yeses. And he did not reach that threshold. So there are at least, I think, I'm doing the math, 11 that said no. I think we need to go find those 11. I think it should be transparent. I think the Pro Football Hall of Fame could do this on their own. You need to find those 11. And this is not an exaggeration. It's going to sound like I'm playing it over the top for hyperbole. I actually believe this. I think you find those 11, and you go back, and any other committee for the Hall of Fame that they have voted for, yes or no, those votes should not count. Because they obviously have no clue what a Hall of Famer looks like, what a Hall of Famer's resume is, what a Hall of Famer should be. So now you go back, and if they voted no for Torrey Holt one of these years, and you remove those no's, if that pushes him above 75%, beautiful. You're in the Hall of Fame now. This is such an egregious mistake. And I'm not even the biggest Bill Belichick stan. I grew up in a household. My dad is from New England, he's from Connecticut, diehard Boston, everything, Red Sox, the whole deal, including the Patriots. And I was the guy that was rooting against them just because I was a annoying little kid. I was not a Patriot Belichick. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if you think otherwise, your votes don't count anymore. That's how I look at it. Unless you give the best, you better put together a slideshow, PowerPoint of all the reasons why you made that, and it better be fantastic. Seth Wickersham of ESPN talked about Bill Belichick not making the Hall of Fame, and we have that audio.
I mean, it's a pure stunner. And I think when Don Van Natt and I were putting together the story, we were trying to figure out how exactly something like this could happen. And I think that part of it is procedural. You can, in that particular line of voting, you can vote for up to 3 candidates. So I think that there are some voters who voted for other people thinking that Bill would get in. There's some people who maybe put Belichick lower on their list. And then I think there are people who are still frustrated, feeling like that teams around the NFL were cheated out of wins because of the Spygate controversy. Remember, Don Van Natt and I, about 10 years ago, wrote about how Deflategate was a makeup call for a perceived lack of punishment, or a light punishment for Spygate. And I think all of that stuff kind of conspired to lead to this stunning result, which is that Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl champion, a resume unlike almost every coach, second all-time in wins, isn't going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Goodness. By the way, you get 3 votes. The question is not, is Bill Belichick one of them? The question is, what are you doing with the other 2 votes? That's just how it goes. You don't get to play the game of, well, I'm not going to vote him in because others will vote him in, because that's how you end up in this situation. You're not using your vote correctly. 3 votes go to the 3 most deserving. Boom. Finished. Also, if there is a little bit of solace or a little bit of respite from like bummer that he didn't get in, Eli Manning, reportedly by Ian O'Connor, also not getting in, and he's on his 2nd ballot for the Hall of Fame. So, at least Belichick doesn't have to not go in and watch the guy that's wearing what he probably believes are 2 of his Super Bowl rings. He doesn't have to watch that guy go in while he's not in, which would have been an all-time Eli Manning funny beat. Like, one more time getting in before Bill would have been hilarious. But alas, not to happen. What number was that? 3? Let's get to number 2.
Just the 2 of us.
Let's do that hockey.
Carolina Hurricanes practiced earlier today. They play tomorrow. Utah at home. It is a Whalers night. Let's give you the update from practice. After practice, Rod Brindamore told the media that he is hopeful that Shane Gostisbehere will play tomorrow. He was skating at practice in a regular sweater.
Yep.
So no, I would expect him to play, but again, hopeful is how it was described by Rod.
Skated the full practice.
Jordan Martinook was not on the ice for practice, but that was deemed a maintenance day. So even less to worry about there for Jordan Martinook. Eric Robinson's still out. Not a surprise there. If I were a betting person, and I might be, but I don't bet on this kind of thing, after the Olympic break is when I would anticipate Eric Robinson being available. But again, that's just gambling. That's just guessing and kind of, making my best educated guess. That's not any kind of report. But he was not at practice, not out there on the ice. Noah Philp. It's not about being here for a long time. It's about being here for a good time. Played 2 games, got hurt, concussion protocol. Today he was put on waivers. If he clears waivers, I would expect them to put him down at the Chicago AHL, the Wolves. I'll be interested, though, to see if he does pass through waivers. When he was claimed, there were some real uproar across the league about, how was he available? People kind of like Noah Philp. So we'll see if he clears waivers. But he's on waivers, which might bode well for some, the Jankowskis and the Kokieniemis of the world that kind of have been playing that 4th line role that Philp was getting a chance at for those 2 games that he was a Carolina Hurricane.
Yeah, it was a low risk. When you claimed him off waivers, it didn't cost you anything.
Yep.
He's on a minimum contract. So guess what? If you need him, you can always bring him right back up if he does clear waivers. All right, go play. Because guess what? He's not going to get any ice time with the way the lineup is set right now. So go play. Go play in Chicago.
Assuming he clears waivers. We'll see.
Yeah.
I know you were out there at practice. Any other latest that you want to pass around that you noticed?
Shane Gostisbehere back with that top power play unit. That's really about it. I mean, the forward lines were pretty much exactly the same. The D pairings were all the same. I mean, Nikishin skating alongside Gostisbehere. That's really about it.
I don't want to downplay that business as usual in late January is a luxury. Even with Robinson out, the business as usual, right? Your most of your top guys playing in the mix at practice or on a maintenance day, that's something to celebrate at this time of year. So pretty solid. And they've had a nice little break. When was their last game? Feels like it was a long time ago. Saturday, and they don't play till Thursday. That's a big break in the middle of a season with a condensed schedule to make room for that Olympic break. So, hopefully they aren't rusty. Hopefully they come out with a little bit extra pep in their step tomorrow against Utah.
There you go. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So you got 5 games in 8 days.
But then you get 3 weeks. Now
most guys, yeah.
True. Sorry, those guys that are so good they get to play in the Olympics. Not feeling bad for you. Get to go represent your country and have one of the coolest experiences an athlete can have. Oh, you're gonna be tired. But nobody quits on the last lap of a race. You know what I mean? You kick, you finish. So once they get cruising, last couple of games will fly by. That's number 2. How about number 1?
The 1! Fine table sends it up out there, but Lubin does! Hammer time, Big Ben Allen! 83-62. NC State's blown it open.
NC State beat Syracuse last night, 88-68 at home. Let's get the nuts and bolts out of the way. Darian Williams had a good day. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Did turn the ball over a little more than you'd like with 5 of them, but I don't want him worried. I don't want him playing timid. So, you try to correct him. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. Copeland, Van Allen, Lubin, just heard the highlight of Lubin there, continued to be steady Eddie. Playing very, very well. If there was something that wasn't great, because I thought they actually played even better than the 20-point difference would entail, they didn't shoot the 3 very well outside of Darian Williams. Williams shot 5 of 9, but Trey Holloman and McNeil, the 2 guys kind of in the starting lineup that are most depended on for long-distance marksmanship, finished 2 of 9 combined, 1 of 5 for McNeil, 1 of 4 for Holloman, and then off the bench, they went 0 for. I think it was 0 for 6 off the bench with Terrence Arsenault and Matt Abel taking 6 combined threes. That is something that you can overcome against Syracuse. That is something that you can overcome when Williams is playing as well as he is, or as well as he did. But if you have a Williams night like he had at Pitt in their previous game, I don't think it flies, right? That's something where you would have needed those. So it's a bit of a it's not a problem until it's a problem. They've been shooting, I believe, the highest 3-point percentage in the ACC this year. So it hasn't been a problem. It was just kind of unusual to see some good shots not going in. And some of them rattled in and out, and it was kind of a weird one of those days. But if there was any canary in the mine of like, ooh, that wasn't great, that's what I would call. And then another thing, and this is not by the way, they played well. They're on a 3-game win streak. They're drawing Wake Forest next. Like, things are on the up. They're 4th in the ACC, 6-2 in conference, 4-0 on the road in the ACC. They're in the top 27, I think it is, in net ranking. Like, things are turning up there. If there is now a moment or two to move away from the basketball and into the hilarious, Will Wade did call off the dogs of the fan base from their brand and marketing department because after the previous game, Will Wade made some comments about how he wishes he could wear the Slobbering Wolf logo and how he wishes they could wear the throwback uniforms that say State across the chest more. But after they've worn them, I think they've worn them twice this year, once in the opener and then once in their Reynolds game. He talked about an email that he received that was he said, they told me I can't do that. And the fans tended to rally quite aggressively to, whoever was trying to silence their coach's thirst for throwback uniforms. And he called off the dogs a bit last night. We have the audio for you. Here's Will Wade.
I appreciate our fans. Our fans are incredible. Their energy is their passion. There's nothing like it in college athletics and college basketball. But the attacks on our strategic brand management staff, like, there's no place for that. Like, these people are doing their jobs, all right? I apologize. I texted every one of them and apologized privately. I'm apologizing publicly now. But we need to stop. Like, this is their job. Whether, whatever anybody thinks, like, this is their job, and it's our job to do what's best for the university. And what's best for the university is our Tuffy logo and moving forward with that. So, I urge our fans, like, these folks are good folks, hardworking folks who are doing their job. And, we don't need to attack anybody. If you want to attack somebody, attack me for starting this and saying something, that I didn't realize was going to do all that, set this off.
Okay. Real quickly here. And this is such a non-thing that I don't want to, do not think this is like a criticism at all. He knew what he was doing. Oh, I didn't know it would ignite like this. Like, anybody around the program, anybody that follows sports in the area saw how the fans reacted when they wore the throwbacks in previous games. Like, he wore it the first game and in Heritage Night. Like, they went bananas. If you talk about, you could say anything about those jerseys. I almost guarantee we post this video on social media, there will be comments of everyone going, I love the Slobbering Wolf. It is one of those, like, third rails. You touch it, it ignites, people go crazy. He knew what he was doing. And I think he knows what he's doing now, calling everybody off. I think he's like, point made. Do you know what it reminds me of? Dennis, this will be right up your alley. Another movie reference today. I'm heavy in the movie references. How did Deadpool get made? Are you familiar with this story?
I mean, you talk about the 2016, the original?
Yeah, the original Ryan Reynolds Deadpool.
Okay, go on.
So I guess Ryan Reynolds had been shopping him as Deadpool for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And every studio, every executive, every director, no. But they had this like test footage of him as Deadpool. It's like 3 minutes of him doing the quips and being the funny guy and in the suit and all of that. And after, I guess, a more logical person would have finally chalked it up and said, I guess I'm not going to get to play this role that I really, really like. He just released the test footage and was basically like, oh, what are you going to do? Not make the movie and get mad at me? And the test footage went bananas. Viral. Fans loved it. Like the amount of comments that said, like, I would buy 10 tickets right now if you made this movie. Got the movie made. And then it made almost $1 billion. It was the highest rated R-rated movie of all time and all these other things. I think Will Wade did a little bit of that. Like, I know if I say I want to wear the cool uniforms, the people are going to go nuts. And then the higher-ups will recognize it's time to go buy the jerseys. It's time to go sell the jerseys. It's time to put them in our merch store so we can wear them more often. And I'm not saying fans didn't vocalize it before, but it's different when the coach says it and everybody's in and it's this whirlwind and emails are being Freedom of Information acted and everything else. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's more of a mental ninja than we give him credit for. Or maybe everybody does give him credit for it. I think he's doing what he wants to do. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we grab our numbers game contestants, and we do have tickets to Neo and Akon going to somebody that wins them. Before we get there, let's hear from Dennis.
Hey, Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. Something I want everyone to do is obviously be safe when you're out there on the roads, icy conditions and all those kinds of things. Even the little patches, it still can come up and creep up on you. So be safe when you're out there on the road. But as a motorcycle rider, I know obviously I'm not on the roads this time of year. It's a little chilly out there. But I also know that when I go out there on the road that if in case I am injured in a motorcycle accident, there are people that have my back, and that's where Law Tigers comes in. If I'm injured in a motorcycle accident, if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, you have to give Law Tigers a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you get in touch with the insurance company. Insurance companies, as we all know, they want to give you the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're there to fight for you. They're part of the motorcycle riding community. That's why your case evaluation is always free. You don't pay a dime until your case settles because they understand the risks of the road. They know what your bike and your gear are worth. And like I said, they are part of the motorcycle riding community. If you're injured in an accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Maybe you got injured in an accident back sometime last year and you feel like the insurance company isn't doing everything they can to help you. Still give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan needs numbers game contestants. We have a pair of tickets to see Neo and Akon at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 10th. And if you want to win the tickets and the glory that comes with winning the numbers game, call in now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. For your chance to win the tickets, win the numbers game, and forever go down in glory. 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It was a one-team market for Sam Darnold. The team that he won 14 games with last year didn't want him. The other teams around the National Football League, none of them really wanted him. Seattle paid him, but if you look at the structure of that contract, it really is a year-to-year proposition. And they were rewarded for taking a chance on Sam Darnold with him taking them to the Super Bowl.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Pondering prizes with Cash Pop? Why pick just one pop when you can pick as many pops as you please? Up to 15. Picture this. You pick your pop, perhaps a powerful 7. Now pick more pops like a proud 9, a pristine 15, a perfect 10. Each pop propagates more potential to pack your pockets with prizes up to $2,500. So prepare for a peppering of prizes with Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Cash Pop. Play more pops, win more prizes. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds charts at nclottery.com. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmetier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle Area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. As always, we bring two contestants onto the show. For today, it'll be Zachary in Raleigh and Justin in Raleigh. And they will battle it out with jersey number trivia. Whoa, my computer just did a weird little dance there. There we go. Zachary in Raleigh and Justin in Raleigh. And they will battle it out with jersey number trivia to see who gets the prize. For today, Akon and Neo tickets. Pretty cool for somebody in my age group. Soundtrack like it's probably sophomore high school year of my life to Akon. As always, we'll bring we'll bring each contestant onto the show, ask them the same question. Dennis will be the judge, pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first, and we'll go from there. Zachary and Raleigh, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. The question for today, we actually did a blind ranking earlier, inspired by the Whalers jerseys that the Canes will be wearing tomorrow, and it was very simple. It was, what is the best uniform in the history of sports? So that'll be the question. In every sport of all time of ever, what is the best uniform in your eyes?
The 1990s USA hockey jersey.
90s USA hockey. All right, Dennis, any follow-ups?
No, sir.
All right. Getting into the Olympic feel already. Let's go to Justin in Raleigh. Justin, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Same question to you. Inspired by the Whalers jerseys tomorrow, what is the best uniform in all of sports history, any sport, all of it's at your disposal?
I'm going to have to go with just the powder blue Chargers throwback uniforms. Isn't it a classic?
All right, powder blue Chargers. It is a classic. The Schwami would be very, very pleased with your selection there. That's Chris Berman, obviously. Dennis, are we rolling with Zachary in the 90s USA hockey jerseys or Justin and the powder blue Chargers?
Now, if Zach said the 1980 USA hockey jerseys, I thought those are actually just some sweet threads. The 90s ones actually really weren't that great. I don't think they had kind of like this wavy look and all stuff. Wasn't a fan of the 90s USA hockey jerseys. The powder blue throwbacks for the Chargers, absolutely gorgeous. Got to go with Justin on this one.
All right, Justin gets to go first. Zach, don't worry. You will have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a couple of minutes. That brings us to Justin. Justin, are you ready to pick a category?
Ready.
All right, the categories are NFL players, Panthers throughout history. NFL players who have only 8 letters in their full name, that's first and last combined. NBA players, current late January babies, so they're current players born in late January. Or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
Let's go Panthers through history.
Okay. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with some of the other categories. Do you have any questions before we jump in?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Kelvin Benjamin, Carolina Panthers.
18.
Incorrect. Sam Darnold, Carolina Panthers.
8.
Incorrect. Kelvin Benjamin, Carolina Panthers.
13.
Correct. Hayden Hurst, Carolina Panthers.
88.
Incorrect. Sam Darnold, Carolina Panthers.
14.
Correct. Stephon Gilmore, Carolina Panthers.
38.
Incorrect. Hayden Hurst, Carolina Panthers.
82.
Incorrect. You were getting closer on Hayden Hurst. You worked hard to get Kelvin Benjamin and Sam Darnold, so you have 2. Hayden Hurst, for those playing at home, we were looking for 81. You finished on 82 there. And Stephon Gilmore were number 9. So not as close on that one. But 2 is the answer. 2 is your answer, I should say. Leader in the clubhouse. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stay on the line. And that brings us to Zachary. Zachary, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to call me sir, but I appreciate it anyway. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players with only 8 letters in their full name, that's first and last combined, NBA players that are current players born in late January, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
NHL Hurricanes.
I had a feeling. When you're all about the 90s USA hockey jerseys, I had a feeling you were going with the hockey category. I'll
Just
give
so
you...
you know.
Go ahead.
Just so you know, I meant 80s, but I said 90s. I'm just 12, by the way.
Well, if you're 12 years old, the 80s and 90s probably do kind of blend together a little bit there. It's not a bad mistake to make. However, all you had to do was wait a couple of minutes, and there's really no harm in the mistake. I'll give you the team in the category here. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, 1 pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. And you need at least 3 for the victory. Do you have any questions before we jump in?
No.
All right. Zachary, your time will start when you hear the horn. Brandon Bussi, Carolina Hurricanes.
32.
Correct. Logan Stankoven, Carolina Hurricanes.
22.
Correct. Max McCormick, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Valentin Zikov, Carolina Hurricanes.
81.
Incorrect. Cal Burke, Carolina Hurricanes. Zachary, it's you got the 2 that are playing probably in your lifetime, which is impressive right there. You got 2 with Bussi and Stankoven. Unfortunately, ties do go to whoever goes first. So you're not there for the win, but hopefully you had some fun. We enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
All right. For those of you playing at home, McCormick 28, Zikov we would have accepted 39 or 73, and Burke 68 was the number we were looking for. And just a little advice, if you're still listening there, Zachary, throw out numbers, right? I know you want to think. While you're thinking, just say numbers, because you never know, you might stumble into one, and that could have been the difference there. But it is, I mean, when you're 12 years old, you need a little bit of luck of the draw to have some younger names on there. Either way, though, Justin, you are the winner. You get the Neo tickets. You get to go see Neo and Akon. Congratulations.
Akon and Young Jeezy.
Keep it going.
No, I hate
All
to
right.
win on a technicality, but tie goes to the receiver, right?
Exactly. It's well established ahead of time. There's no controversy there. So yeah, thank the Powder Blues and go ahead and sing some Akon and Young Jeezy, as well as some Neo at the concert. Stay on the line, and Dennis will grab the info to make sure you get your prize.
Cool. Thanks.
Now I'm made to look like the bad guy. Huh?
What?
Now I'm made to look like the bad guy.
I mean, if you would have picked, you said it's a real bad confluence of events that he meant 80s, said 90s, and then you went, if he would have said 80s instead of 90s, he would have had it, and then that ended up being the tiebreaker that leads to Zachary not getting the win.
Saying.
At least it wasn't as bad as what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Which
we actually do need to sit down and have a full-on ruling on that one.
Yeah, I think I brought up the controversy. For those of you who weren't listening, I messed up reading the the names, and then they finished. Lee, I believe his name was, finished like 0.2 away from a perfect. It was Asa. Oh, sorry, it was Asa. Asa finished 0.2 away from having a perfect score, and I think I caused him not to have the perfect score. And I floated the idea of keeping them, giving them the benefits of a perfect score. And I kind of got the feeling that they're giving me the power to make the ruling. So that's a lot of power. We'll see what happens. But I'll huddle with Dennis and a few others and come to a conclusion. Maybe we'll bring Ace on and I don't know, replay it from the moment I messed up. Who knows? With that being said, Brandon Bussi, we're going to talk about him in a second here. Brandon Bussi was one of the numbers game contestant or numbers game clues there, right? His jersey number, and Zachary actually jumped all over it and got that one much faster than he got Logan Stankoven, who's been with the Canes for a longer period of time. Not a long time, but longer than Bussi. Because Bussi is becoming everybody's favorite. He was on Canes Corner last night. You can go and check that full interview with Mike Maniscalco on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. It was live streamed. You can check it on our 99.9 The Fan app. It was an hour-long kind of dive into Brandon Bussi, which we'll discuss kind of the insight we gained into Brandon Bussi, his psyche, and everything he's doing to keep this hot stretch of hockey rolling for the Canes in net. But I encourage you to check out the whole thing. Maniscalco did a great job, and we'll discuss that after this. But first, Dennis, you have something you'd like to pass along to everybody out there.
I do. I do. Dennis Cox here from my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I know a lot of people have heard me talk about this weight loss journey with Raleigh Weight Loss Center that I've been on for a few months, and I've lost 40 pounds or over 40 pounds, and I've kept the weight off. But the thing that's actually not just improved is obviously the weight and stepping on the scale and seeing that, but just in the daily activity and daily life of doing stuff, things have just gotten so much easier, just feel so much better, just from even just sitting down here at work and just feeling comfortable throughout the day, riding my motorcycle, and I go play hockey, just less weight and strain on my hips and knees and ankles. I feel so much better than I did even just a couple of years ago playing hockey and doing other sports and things along those lines. My resting heart rate, so much of other things in my life have improved thanks to the weight that I've lost with Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And if you're truly serious about going on that weight loss journey, look no further than Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Get in touch with them and set up a free 15-minute phone consultation. That's it, a free 15-minute phone call. You got questions, you got concerns, you have any health issues that you want to bring it all to the table. That way you can get all those questions answered. That way you can move forward with confidence. And the people at Raleigh Weight Loss Center are always there for you. They have an app that you can always stay in contact with them at any point. Hey, I'm struggling with this, or do you have any advice on this thing? They have it there for you. Also, one of the things, I haven't mentioned this before, I don't think, Tim, but one of the things I actually liked about Raleigh Weight Loss Center, and actually what I do like about Raleigh Weight Loss Center, is that I enjoy going to restaurants. They actually have a restaurant guide for if you're going out and eating in restaurants around the triangle. Hey, when you go to these places, eat these foods. They fit on our list. So you could still go out and have dinner with friends and family. They have that all at your disposal as well. All those resources for you. 919-897-7506 or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks at Brandon Bussi and how he's doing, what he's doing for the Carolina Hurricanes. Coming up next, don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Adam Golden. As the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance, that's right, 8 in a row. That's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
This is the sound of Claire cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd to the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Canes hockey is back. Grab an ice cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes. Only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, so easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
If you are a contact lens wearer and you are tired of wasting time and money, you need Travers LASIK and Dr. Lori Travers, because in about 10 minutes, Dr. Lori can put you on the path to 20/20 vision, and it's totally painless. 2 year zero-interest financing is available. And if you are a first responder, police, firefighter, or EMT, Travers is giving you exclusive savings as well. 919-510-6830. 919-510-6830. TraversLASIK.com.
Osland, he's a little lazy with that pass, and Aho got to it but couldn't. Now Thompson out in front. Back to Thompson, they score.
He saved it. I thought he saved it.
Oh, dear, Bussi! I thought it's in the back of the net. And Brandon Bussi just robbed Tage Thompson blind.
Everybody thought it was in the back of the net, and I immediately looked at Bussi, and he immediately looked at his glove hand, knowing the puck was in the back of the glove.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Few bits of housekeeping I want to get to before we talk about our guy, Brandon Bussi. First, later tonight right here on 99.9 The Fan, you can hear Texas at Auburn basketball. A little play-by-play here on a Wednesday. A couple of teams that played and beat NC State earlier this year. So I guess it's like you beat State, you get to play well later in the schedule against each other. That was how this one played out. Also, the Duke Coaches Show with John Shire at 6 will be on the Buzz. That's our another station, our family of networks here, Buzz Sports Radio. So you can catch insight from John Shire on that one. And to start Overdrive at the start of the next hour, we're about 6 o'clock, you can hear our conversation from earlier today with Thayer Thomas, former Heritage High School and NC State wide receiver, who is also the older brother of Drake Thomas, one of the standout defensive players for the Seahawks, who also played at NC State going into the Super Bowl, and former workout buddy and golf partner with, and might still be, I don't know why I said former, with Sam Darnold. So we get some insight into what's going on for the Seahawks getting ready for the Super Bowl from Thayer Thomas. That's starting off Overdrive. Now, last night at the local, Mike Maniscalco, the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes, right here on this network, chopped it up with Brandon Bussi for about an hour. And it's called Canes Corner. It's a recurring series, right? You get players throughout the season, a handful of times, and Mike Maniscalco gets to dive into some, I would say, more human elements of the player, right? It's less, hey, this team has a great, top pair. How did you deal with it, or whatever the more Hannah Yates style between intermission questions. And
how do we slow down this penalty kill?
Yeah, and it's more like, hey, who were the big influences on you? What is it like going from a waiver claim, AHL journeyman, heading to play in Charlotte to you're now the number one goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes? And there were two main things I came away with. One is like half a joke, and the other is like 100% real, and I think it's very important. Should we start with the half a joke?
Okay.
Right at the end, they were doing like you can submit questions on Twitter to Mike Maniscalco, and he'll ask Brandon Bussi, and he brought one up, and he went, haha, that's a good question, but I'm not going to ask that one. And then everybody was like, whoa, jokingly. And Bussi goes, all right, well, let me read it first. And he read it and went, yep, not answering that one. But then he said something nice about, like, the fact that, he didn't, it was obviously not like an inappropriate X-rated or something weird like that. Like, it was something hockey related that they weren't going to answer. I want to know what it was. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, is it contract related? What could it be? What is it? What was the question? I want to know. I got to know. And I didn't know.
My guess is probably something about a contract. I don't know.
I don't know. So I was just, as it happened, I went like, that's going to annoy me. That's like the sixth grader in me when somebody's like, I know a secret. You don't know it. I'm just like, no, I got to know. What do I have to do? So that's the first thing. Again, half joke, right? If he doesn't want to answer it, he doesn't have to. Not under oath at Canes Corner. And then the second is this. I think it is completely impossible to predict sometimes, but it is, if you could predict it, you would be the highest paid front office executive in the world. Every professional sports team would love to have you as a consultant. You could charge unlimited money. If you could predict which players, which people, which athletes could go through what Brandon Bussi is going through and not let it change them, you would be the best person in a front office in history. Brandon Bussi went from essentially in like the casual NHL fan lexicon, a nobody, to the number one goaltender who's won 19 of his first 23 appearances on the team that is leading the Eastern Conference and one of the Stanley Cup favorites in half a year, not even. That it would, and by the way, like his agent is probably now negotiating with numbers that 6 months ago were fairy dust. It would have been a fantasy. It would have been what, like, I don't know, whatever Mega Millions is at now, right? It would have been you and your buddies sitting around. What would you do if you got $4 million a year? Now I would assume those are numbers that are being realistically thrown around, right? It would make sense if it got to your head, right? It would. Great people have let that turn them into arrogant tools for a little bit of time, right? Maybe they come back around, they get humbled, whatever, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. I watched the full hour of conversation between Mike Maniscalco and Brandon Bussi, and I got the vibes of, oh no, that's just Brandon Bussi.
Yeah.
Like that's this, whatever he was, if he got together with his high school buddies on Long Island, that was what he was with Mike Maniscalco. Like it did not, I imagine it's strange. It's not like I've been through it. I imagine it's strange to go from, like, you don't change as a person, but suddenly thousands of people want your autograph, right? Suddenly you walk into a room and people like stand and applaud. And you're just like, I'm still the me that, I could have walked anywhere and nobody would recognize me 6 months ago. And now people want to know everything about me. People want to ask these questions. People will fill a restaurant. And that right there could skew some things within your own personality. But if it's not you, if you're somebody that stays the same, I think that means you're in it for the right reasons. I think that means you love the sport. I think that means you'd be playing hockey if it meant minimum wage and no fans because you just love it that much. And it's a great sign for future success if that is true. And I got those vibes. Matter of fact, Brandon Bussi talked during the event about not that long ago being the third goalie on the roster and looking for practice reps when he could get them and all of those things. Here's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I think you have to take the positives out of everything. I think when you have three, it means you might get lower practice reps, but in return, you can make the most of those reps. Instead of taking 15 shots in a row, you take 7 or 8, and those 7 or 8 count more than the 15 you would have. And then in turn, just over the course of a season, you play a lot of games, you practice a lot, your body can get beat down a little bit. So in the end, it might be good for your body to rest a little more. So with the less exertion and practice in a way, that could be important for you. So I think in the end, in a situation like that, you have to take the positives out of it.
I'd say that's some good spin zone right there. Another way to say that is, dude, I was claimed off waivers just a little bit before that. If I would have got one shot in practice in an NHL practice, that would have been awesome. I'm not going to sit here and complain about 7 shots because someone else is getting 15. Like it very much struck me as, like, keep the main thing the main thing. The priorities are in order. He talked about how awesome his fiance is. He talked about the support from his parents and his old coaches and his old teammates and how it took a village to get him where he is. And he talked about keeping his body right and learning from the veterans. And none of it, zero of it, at least in my opinion, I'm not going to pretend like I'm the best guy at reading people, but zero of it came off as anything other than authentic to me. And I think that's a good sign for, like, a flash in the pan, whoa, where did this guy come from, burst onto the scene, having some longevity, is if that spotlight doesn't impact you much as far as, like, who you are. Obviously, it impacts your pocketbook, it impacts, maybe what car you drive, whatever. But if it doesn't change who you are, even temporarily, I think that bodes well for your future as a player that keeps getting better and keeps looking for holes and keeps doing all those things. Check out that full conversation, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan app. Shout out to Mike Maniscalco for a great interview. We'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy Thayer Thomas coming up next to start Overdrive. And like I said, we'll see you for a hockey night in Carolina tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Move your sports day forward.
The goal for the Carolina Hurricanes in the remaining games before the Olympic break, simple. Replenish those reverse Uno cards. The tilting the ice and playing catch-up from allowing early goals or silly penalties needs to stop in the third period. Put the hammer down early. And please, please, please don't let Stanky or Jarvie go a game without a single shot.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can.